Reigning Super Bowl champion New England Patriots off an emotional win last week against the Buffalo Bills take on the Chicago Bears, who have lost 6 consecutive games. With Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan from Memorial Stadium on the campus of the University of Illinois. Paul Ettinger has it teed up for Chicago, and deep back for the New England Patriots, the electrifying rookie Deion Branch and reserve running back Patrick Pass. The Bears, the Patriots, and here we go from Champaign. This will be Branch, who finds a seam, gets by Grain, and brought down by Moore. Damon Moore makes the grab after a return of 34 yards, and the offense takes the field. This line of White, Compton, Woody, Andruzzi, and Robinson Randall will guard quarterback Tom Brady.
As much as you want to say it's important to dwell on last week, Antoine Smith, great game. Edwards, Troy Brown, David Patton, Christian Fourier. The NFL right now is the church of what's happening now. And what's happening for New England is they have to free up Troy Brown. 1 touchdown this year.
From the 39-yard line, 1st and 10, and Brady right to work. With the rush from Brown, a pass is caught by Daniel Graham, their much talked about rookie tight end, who picks up 3. Then he is brought down on the play by Roosevelt Colvin. Graham makes his 8th reception of the season. So after the opening kickoff, 2nd down and 7 for the champion Patriots outside the 41. Antoine Smith with the block from Fourier, then wrapped up and brought down in the backfield by Reggie Austin after a gain of 5. He's up to the 47-yard line, and 3rd down and a couple to go. The Chicago defense coming into today, number 27 in the National Football League, 25 against the run, number 21 against the pass.
And for the Chicago Bears, Kevin, their defense is the key today. Going against this offense for New England, they cannot be cute. Brian Urlacher and his defense has to be physical. It's got to be a week of rest and ice for the New England offense if you're a Chicago Bears defender.
47-yard line, 3rd down and 2. Kevin Falk gets the snap and runs outside him. Brian Urlacher smells it out and brings him down at the 44. It's a loss in the play of 2 on the direct snap to Kevin Falk. And so the New England Patriots have got to punt the ball. On the line, Daniels, Christian Peter, Traylor, and Brown. Linebackers Howard, Urlacher, and Colvin. Great play moments ago by Urlacher in the secondary. McQuarters and Azuma. Brown in the safety slot. And so to punt, Ken Walter, who is dead last in the NFL in that category, gets off a rocket. Leon Johnson will let it bounce at about the 7, and it ricochets into the end zone. Across the plane. Touchback. 55-yard punt by a guy who averages about 38 yards per punt. Chris Chandler takes the field. He is 37 years of age. This will be his 3rd start of the year. Colombo, Gandy, Kreutz, Valerio, and Williams.
And they're the key. The offensive line is the key to the Chicago hopes today. I think this team has to be physical. You got A-Train's got to get going. You got to get the ball outside to White and Booker.
Johnny Davis is the tight end. And so Chris Chandler, starting for his 8th different NFL franchise. That is a record. Begins at the 20 after the touchback, 1st and 10. And blow that one dead in mid-motion. Some movement on the part of the Chicago Bears.
False start, number 81, offense, 5 yards, 1st down.
Bob McElwee is the senior referee in the National Football League, and that is Ahmad Merritt, who is caught. They quickly take him out and bring in Stanley Pritchett in the backfield.
So they're back to a base defense. And if there's one thing that has stopped Chicago more than any other thing this year so far, it's been Chicago. Chicago gets penalties. Chicago turns over the ball. And Chicago stops themselves more often than not.
1st down, 15, back at the 15 for Chris Chandler. And off Anthony Thomas. Squeaks through for Otis Smith. Brings him down along with Anthony Pleasant. Sliding up to the 26 and picking up about 12 yards on the carry. The New England defense enters today, number 9 in the NFL. McGinnis, Hamilton, Seymour, and Pleasant. Linebackers in the middle. Brewski flanked by Vrabel and Pfeiffer. And in the secondary, Law and Smith at the corners. Malloy and Jones are at the safety.
But Kevin, starting lineups for New England are very much sort of for the families at home. This team has more specialists that do more different things well than any other team in the league.
And on second down and a long three from the 27, the pitch out goes to second-year Michigan Wolverine running back Anthony Thomas, who is brought down close to a first down on the far side. Over there making the stop with Steve Martin as you take a look at Dick Geron, now in his fourth year as the coach. Last year's coach of the year in the NFL.
And last year they won the close games. This year they're not. Last year they didn't get the key injuries. This year they are. Now they're hearing all the stories both in Chicago and I think around the country is, was 2001 just a fluke?
Keys for the offense today for the Chicago Bears?
Run the ball. Run the ball, keep Tom Brady off the field, get Anthony Thomas going, and protect number 12, Chris Chandler. You give Chandler protection, he can hurt a defense.
First and 10 from the 30. Whacked and taken down. Sacked on the play, streaming through Teddy Bruschi with his third sack of the season. And back to the 24 and a loss in the play of about 5-6 yards. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, thank you, Kevin and Randy. A lot of folks were watching this game. St. Louis and San Diego closing seconds. Breeze to the end zone. Intercepted by Dexter McLean to preserve the win. A fourth straight for the Rams. 28-24. Let's go back to you.
All right, thank you, Jim. That is the 12th blown fourth quarter lead since 2000 for San Diego. Second down, 16, back at the 24. First possession this afternoon for Chicago, and the second time they're blown for a penalty.
False start,
Same
number
one.
75, offense. 5 yards, second down.
That's the rookie out of Boston College, Mark Colombo. Bill Belichick in his third year as the coach of the New England Patriots.
And Bill Belichick and Romeo Crennel, his defensive coordinator, want a defense on the field that is never in the spots that an offense expects, especially when they first break the huddle. You see the defense milling around in various spots, and Romeo Crennel there tells his linebackers, tells his defensive linemen, get into your stance late, only when you really have to. And the longer an offense stands around and watches, the better chance there is somebody's going to jump off sides.
Second down, 21. Back at the 19. Fake to Thomas, who offers the block, and outside it goes for Stanley Pritchett, who gets away from Smith and is belted on the side by Bucky Jones, along with Ted Johnson. And on the play, a gain of about 5 yards up to the 24.
You saw that blitz by Teddy Bruschi a couple plays ago, Kevin. I think we have to go back and talk about that. That's exactly what I was talking about when I said if you protect Chris Chandler, you're going to have a heck of a chance of moving the ball. And if you get the inside blitz from a Bruschi or Ted Johnson or goodness, I mean, select a linebacker because they'll blitz anybody from anywhere, and you get up the face pressure like they blitzed on Bledsoe last week, you will not have success throwing the ball, and Chris Chandler will have a day-to-day like he had last year when he was with the Falcons against the Patriots.
And he can throw the long ball as well as anyone in the NFL. Third down, 16. On the 24, 3 down, Patriots offsides. Downfield it goes, incomplete, as he was aiming for Marty Booker. And this one is against New England.
In the case of Chris Chandler, his bark is as bad as his bite. He will get you offsides. He's got that Elway Marino thing.
Number 82, defense. 5-yard penalty, third down.
You know, Randy, when you take a look at that New England defense, they give you so many multiple looks. It's got to be incredibly difficult for an offense to prepare against them.
Well, the real key offensively and defensively, because the offense of New England does as much as Romeo Crennel's defense does. The key is, don't spend so much time during the week preparing for them. You prepare what you do well, and you tell your players, look, you have to have faith that when the game starts, we're going to tell you what they're doing to us, and here's how we'll adjust.
Third down and 11, up to the 29-yard line after the penalty.
2 down linemen, 4 linebackers.
Shotgun snap, a block by Colombo. Chandler had it batted away. It's incomplete. Batted right back in his face. Seymour was in the vicinity. He may have swatted that ball away.
Here, Bruschi, another case of that face pressure right in the quarterback's grill.
So the Patriots have had the ball once. They've punted. Chicago just giving up their first possession, and they are set to punt. Chicago coming in 2-6. New England coming in 4-4 on a blustery day here in Champaign, Illinois. Fred Maynard to punt. Troy Brown, who's an outstanding punt returner, is back, and it's fair caught back at the 35, a 36-yard punt. Brown has had the bad knee, of course, and so they took him out of those duties. But slowly but surely he is getting back in there for Bill Belichick as you take a look at the AFC Eastern Division standings.
This game has got huge ramifications, I think, especially New England wins this game, goes to 5-4. How much pressure does that put on Miami with their game with the Jets? I mean, at New York with a backup quarterback. You got Chicago languishing in the bottom of what many thought would be one of the more competitive divisions in the league, and right now Green Bay's running away with it.
Green Bay looks like they're going to go to 8-1. First and 10, 36. The pitch out to Antoine Smith. Shifting gears, banged inside, and dives until he's brought down by Larry Riggum. A hard-earned gain to 5 out to the 41-yard line.
And as the Buffalo Bills found out last week, Kevin, if you're going to come up and hit Antoine Smith, you better get a full pack. You better get his whole package when you hit him. He's going to spin out. He's going to keep grinding forward. Is he flashy? No. Is he quick to the line of scrimmage? No. If his offensive line can hold their blocks, though, he gets momentum, and he is tough to bring down.
That was his first 100-yard game last week at Buffalo. Now 2nd and 5 at the 41. Here comes Traylor. There goes Brady. He throws ahead. That is a pass, and it is caught by Antoine Smith back at the line of scrimmage. So instead of getting a loss with Urlacher and company streaming in, Brady somehow has the presence of mind to flip it ahead.
You know, turnabout is fair play when you think about it, because if you want to come right up into the face. Right up into the face here of Tom Brady. And however you can do it, that's how you do it. Do you bring Urlacher? Yeah, but one thing you don't want to do, how do you turn Keith Traylor? See big Keith there, 94? How do you turn him loose right in the quarterback's face? That's 350 pounds of love coming at your #1 guy.
That's a lot of love. 3rd and a long 5. Kevin Fulks got the first down. Breaking a tackle by Brown. A block ahead by Gibbons. And there he goes. A flag is down at the 42-yard line. A 34-yard gain as it stands right now.
I think this is going to go against New England.
Smith carry brought down by Wiggum. A flag on the play.
Chop block.
Personal foul, illegal crackback, number 83, offense. 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So back it goes, and this has been a heavily penalized Patriot team this year.
And it couldn't come at a worse time, because a perfectly executed and planned play there by Charlie Weiss, the coordinator for New England. And Deion Branch, the rookie, one thing Charlie didn't really draw up when he drew that up was having to remind the rookie, I guess, that you can't come back in motion and then hit another defender down below the waist. Hit him down low when he's already engaged.
Falk remains in the game. 3rd down and 20 at the 25. Urlacher goes back in pass coverage. Outside it goes for Troy Brown, dancing his way. Blockers ahead, including Brady. A block by Falk, a block by Brady, and he'll still be shy of the first down. He picks up about 9 on the play, and all that running produces that, and New England for the 2nd consecutive possession's got to punt the ball.
But you have to love it. If you're a Bears fan watching this game, you're seeing a defense that's finally healthy. They've got 9 of their starters back, really, for Dick Duran, that are going to be coming back. Teddy Washington's not going to be coming back for a while at least, and this defense is swarming. They're going to the ball, and they're confusing the Patriots right now.
2 3-and-outs for the New England Patriots. Ken Walter at a 55-yarder the first time he booted it. Snap from Paxton. Leon Johnson is back at the 10. And the former Tar Heel from North Carolina on the fly and brought down nicely by Patrick Pass. And they had to take a pass as he's whacked at the 32-yard line. A 23-yard return after another 55-yard punt. We are scoreless in Champaign. Our sideline reporter today is Beasley Reese.
All right, thanks a lot, Kevin. We are scoreless in Champaign, as you know. Now, one thing to watch is the wind today. There is a tornado watch in the area, not in this county. Now, the wind has died down a little bit since right before game time, but it is expected to pick up. That makes it difficult to catch punts, kickoffs, and to throw long balls, so it's something to watch. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Beasley.
It's an advantage for these two teams, too, Beasley, because we all know they don't throw a whole lot of balls down the field. They're short passing teams.
33-yard line, 1st and 10 for Chicago. Leon Johnson in the game. And he runs for a gain of 2 and then brought down by a host of defenders, including the guy right there, Bobby Hamilton. What would you do if you're Chicago?
Well, number one, what I'd do is I'd try to spread this defense out. I would, by formation, bring in some wide receivers, get this defense thinking horizontal on a football field and not just everybody jamming in between the hash marks and letting Romeo Cornell's defense just stuff you up inside between the guards, because that's where they're attacking, inside.
2nd down and 8 from the 35. Pritchett in the backfield. Johnson split as a receiver at the top of your screen. Colombo's got a block, and there's a pass to Des White, belted by Ted Johnson, close to a 1st down up to the 43.
And Des White at the end of that run, you see what he did? Yeah, he didn't get tricky. He didn't get cute. He just went right straight up the field. When you catch a crossing pattern like this and you're a young receiver out there, catch it, get your bearings, and get up the field and get all the yards you can. If you're lucky, you're going to get a 1st down. Des White came up short, but that's what this team needs. They need positive yards after the catch.
Leon Johnson remains in the game. 3rd down, short yard from the 43. Johnson. He was hit hard on the play by Malloy, but not after he gains 4 yards, and a Chicago 1st down to the 46.
Well, you got to really like what Chicago's offense does. Watch the crease they open up right here with Olin Kreutz, the center, and Lawyer Malloy comes up and tries to make the hit, but they block it so well, so crisp, and so clean. Lawyer Malloy can only get there in about time to hit Anthony Thomas and hold him to only a 4 or 5 yard run.
1st down and 10 from the 46. Chandler outside, looking comfortable with that pass to Marty Booker, and is tripped up on the play by Roman Pfeiffer after a gain of 3. I say he looks comfortable. A lot of people think that Chandler hasn't looked all that comfortable in this offense.
And rightfully so. You know, Chris Chandler, they made a big deal a few weeks ago saying, you know, this is an NFL record. Chris has started for his 8th NFL team. Well, you know, one of the big problems that Chris has in this system isn't so much learning a new system. It's purging the last 7 out of his head. Now, how do you just forget offenses, much less how do you learn a new one? But remember, keep spreading them out. Don't bring the defense into the middle of the field.
49-yard line, 2nd down and 7. Leon Johnson. Not much there. Pfeiffer and Bursky with the gain of 2, pushing him past midfield to the 49.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you get in there and start doing that, you're going to have a serious problem, because you're going to get the strength of this defense is right here and right behind Richard Seymour. You want something to emphasize? You get that young 93 working against Olin Kreutz. Got any motion there? Think there's anywhere to go? Spread out the defense.
Chandler now faced with 3rd down and 5 from the Patriot 49. Leon Johnson, former New York Jet, is in the backfield. Chandler looking one way, no one home. Now he's got to run past the 45, has the 1st down, and slides to the Patriot 35. A 14-yard scramble. Easily the longest run for this season for Chandler, and a 1st down for the Chicago Bears.
And as you can notice here, none of Michael Vick's speed rubbed off on Chris Chandler last year in Atlanta. But what you don't have when you're a young guy like Michael Vick is you don't have the kind of savvy to look down the field, see the style of defense, that they're manning your guys down the field, and you have 20 yards open in front of you. That's nice read. That's the definition of an experienced vet taking exactly what the defense will let them take.
1st and 10 on the 7th play of the drive from the New England Patriot 35. Leon Johnson at the top of your screen. Pritchett in the backfield with the block, and little dump pass across the middle, dropped by Marty Booker. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, we've already seen, Kevin, some jump offsides and some mistakes by Chicago. And if you wanted to contrast, how do you win football games? You took a tape of 2001 for this football team. You could make a highlight film of the things you have to do to win a game. By the same token, Dick Duran could make you a highlight film this year, 2002, of the things you do to lose football games. There's the key that Dick Duron needs right there. He has got to stop making the mistakes as a football team that lose games.
2nd down and 10 from the 35. Fake to Johnson, blocked by Pritchett, and a pass. Caught by the tight end, John Davis, tumbling to the 25, picks up 9. And Davis brings him close to a 1st down.
I like the offensive game plan so far. They're not spreading about it obviously as much as I'd like to see, but what they're doing is they're bringing them in different directions. They're giving them different looks. They're giving them counters, and they're freeing up different receivers. They're not getting zeroed in on Booker or White or Anthony Thomas. I don't think New England came into this game worrying much about Davis, number 82, but they might want to start. They keep spreading them into these situations.
2 tight ends, 3rd down and 1. Outside the 25 of New England, Leon Johnson belted and brought down by Jarvis Green. Much talked about rookie out of LSU. On this drive, the Bears have converted 3rd and 5, 3rd and 1, and now 3rd and 1 again. And they've done it with the A-train, Anthony Thomas on the bench, and Leon Johnson in there.
And a drive like this has got to do wonders for the confidence of an offense that rightfully wouldn't have much confidence coming into this game. Didn't do much against Philly last week, squandered quite a few opportunities, especially in the 2nd half. But the key right now, you finish it with a touchdown, not with a field goal against a favored team like New England.
About a 6-minute drive for the Bears. Leon Johnson on the pitch. And squirms his way for perhaps a yard. That's about it. Coming up with the stop is Roman Pfeiffer. It'll be 2nd down and 9. What'd you see in the win last week for New England? What was different about that team last week as compared to the previous 4 games?
Well, I guess it's something I love to talk a lot about this time of the year, and something that Bill Belichick's team last week really had. They had focus, and they had an attention to detail. His defensive players were exactly where they're supposed to be. The offensive players were exactly where they were supposed to be, and they were focused.
Might be a springboard. 2nd down, 9 inside the 25. Outside they go to Pritchett. Getting brought down by McGinnis, and the tackle made at about the 21. Gain of about 2.5 on the play. Let's make our 2nd trip to New York and check in with Jim Nance.
All right, Kevin and Randy, and here's the final on Carolina, New Orleans. Rodney Peete, they're down 3, and it's ruled a fumble. Charles Grant will run it in. For the folks who like the Saints today by a lot, well, they're happy. 34-24. They're now 7-2 with their victory today. Winners by 10. Let's go back to Kevin and Randy.
John Fox has got to be just shaking his head off to such a good start in Carolina, but he doesn't have something Bill Belichick has. Belichick's got a quarterback. Fox has none.
That takes us to the end of the 1st quarter here on CBS. With Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan Memorial Stadium, Champaign, Illinois, we begin the 2nd quarter. The Bears are on the move, faced with 3rd down and 6 inside the New England 22. Patriots have had it twice, and 2 possessions of 3 and out. They punted both times. Chicago punted the first time they had it. Looks like New England is going to call timeout.
Little confusion there on what exactly they were supposed to be lining up in, Kevin.
Well, they just had the between quarter timeout.
Oh, you want to rush them?
Chicago just watched New England take their first timeout after the break, so this is the first play of the 2nd quarter. 3rd down and 6, 12th play of the drive for the Bears inside the New England 22. Johnson in the backfield and to the end zone, and it is drops incomplete, looking for Marty Booker.
Miller's pass intended for
It'll
Marty
be
Booker.
4th down, and the New England defense keeps Chicago out of the end zone and will hold the Bears to a 3-point try.
Now that's going strength against strength, Kevin. You've got Marty Booker going against Ty Law down here at the bottom of the field. What do you want to do? You just want to match up your best receiver right now with their best defensive back and see who wins this play. Ball's placed perfectly, but hey, you can't allow for good defense, and Ty Law is right there in Pro Bowl form.
So here's Paul Ettinger trying a 39-yard boot. There's a crosswind here. Ettinger has knocked through 7 consecutive field goals. Make it 8. And the Bears score first on a good-looking drive. Ettinger from 39 yards away. Veterans Day weekend, and the NFL saluting all veterans of foreign wars. Moments ago, 39-yard field goal by Paul Ettinger sets to kick off. 3-0, the Chicago Bears on top. They've got Fulton and Branch deep back, and this will be the rookie Branch inside the 10-yard line for New England. It ran into his own blocker. And down he goes. Ran right into Teddy Bruschi, and down he falls. 21-yard return. On a timeout. That's a part of the Chicago offensive line that just gave way to a good-looking drive and a 39-yard field goal. Now New England has it 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Fake handoff to Smith, and outside they go to Mark Edwards with his 14th reception of the season. The tackle made by McQuarters. It's a gain on the play of a couple yards. We'll call it 3 up to the 32. I would assume this week New England very preoccupied in how to negate the great middle linebacker for the Bears, Brian Urlacher.
Hey, you know, more than anything else at this point, he's the first one to admit after only 3 years at middle linebacker, he's a great tackler and a great pursuer. But I don't think he's a great linebacker yet. Ray Lewis is a great linebacker. Brian Urlacher is more of a tackler / overall defender than he is really a linebacker.
Brady empties the backfield on 2nd down and 8, and that ball is dropped on a quick cross. In the middle it was Roosevelt Colvin winding up and teeing up Troy Brown. Incomplete, 3rd down.
And Roosevelt Colvin is a guy that Bill Belichick and all the Patriots spend a lot of time talking about when they talk to us. You know, for all the talk about Urlacher, Colvin's one with 7 sacks. Urlacher has 3. Colvin's a guy, when you got Holman on the other side who's on injured reserve and Urlacher, you've got the best young linebackers in the NFL. And Roosevelt Colvin is one of the true best-kept secrets in this league, a guy that can really play the game.
Smith in the backfield on this 3rd and 8 from the 32 for Brady. Snap from Compton. Good time in the pocket. Good block by Light. That's going to be short, although the catch is made by Troy Brown. He picks up 7, tumble into the 39, had to get beyond the 40. And so now New England has got to punt for a 3rd consecutive time, a 3rd consecutive 3 and out.
And this is just what Bill Belichick was talking about to us last night. This is a field position game. And when you get in field position games, it usually comes down each half to a big mistake, to a big play or a big turnover. Going for it.
It's a fake. And on the quarterback sneak, they get it.
And that qualifies as a big mistake. You're willing on your own 40, 39.5 yard line to go for it. That's Bill Belichick saying, you know, I think I've outplanned you. I think I can outguess you. And I know I've got some guys on my side that can outplay you.
Damon Heward is the one who is in back, as you see, number 19. And they sent Walter, the punter, out on the wing. And they put Gibbons in the backfield. That is a 1st down up to the 43-yard line.
And you've got guys looking around like, what in the heck was that?
Smith in the backfield, and Brady right to work. And fires a pass outside. It's caught by Troy Brown. Brown in his previous 2 receptions had been short on 3rd down plays. That's a gain of 4, and he's up to the 47-yard line. And coming up in the Nextel halftime report, you can join Jim, Dion, Dan, and Boomer for all the scores and highlights. That's coming up on the Nextel halftime report from New York.
Well, we mentioned earlier about how this is kind of the NFL's the church of what's happening now, and so far this first half is a good indication of how important your last game is now in the NFL, because it's not doing either team much good.
47-yard line. Smith in motion out of the backfield. 2nd down and 6 for Brady. Right down the middle. And it's caught by Troy Brown to the 37-yard line. Picks up 16 yards on the play as he was working on Mike Brown. No relation. A 1st down for New England.
There's Troy Brown right there getting ready to go. Urlacher's going to come up, and right here, there's Urlacher, there's Troy Brown. Great planning by Charlie Weiss of getting a mismatch inside, confusing safeties and linebackers.
That's the 3rd catch by Brown on 3rd down today inside the Chicago 38. A 1st down for Brady with Edwards on the move and Smith following the block. And into Caldwell, who makes the tackle for Chicago at the Bear 32-yard line on a gain of 5. The New England Patriots, Randy, have been putting more emphasis on their opening script. We saw it last week in Buffalo, and they pre-planned early this week on a Wednesday distribution.
And one thing you did when you planned early is you planned on running right at this defense. You plan on double teaming Keith Traylor. You plan on exposing the inside of this Bears defense. That's where you run against Chicago, not sideline to sideline. You get it inside.
We play the drive, 32-yard line. Back he goes. Smith with the loss on the play of 3, and former drafted New England Patriot Christian Peter is there with the stop on the Bears defensive line.
You see why the Chicago Bears defense is the strength of this team. I mean, they're a physical team, but I still think when you attack this defense, despite as good a play as that was by Christian Peter, you get after him inside, and you don't let Urlacher run sideline to sideline. You go right at him.
Smith in the backfield, 3rd down and 8. Patriots at the Chicago 35. You see their 3rd downs today. Snap by Compton. Hit by Colvin. Brought down. Alex Brown, the rookie from Florida, and Roosevelt Colvin, who Randy was talking about seconds ago, with that sack, which effectively pushes New England out of field goal range.
Roosevelt Colvin coming from the bottom of the screen right here. Watch him come around the right side of the defense. Just a quick job on Robinson Randall, the offensive tackle. That's a pure speed rush. That's great execution by the defense, because offensively they had the formation in the game there to give him a bad time.
I said out of field goal range, his career long is 55. This will be a 57-yard field goal try by Adam Vinatieri. He's got the distance, and it is good. A career long 57-yard field goal. The guy who starred last year in the playoffs and Super Bowl with 2 game-winning kicks comes up with the career long.
Get it up in the wind. Let it carry. We're not a mile high. What's up?
Well, we thought he was out of field goal range, but 57 yards is a long in the career of Adam Vinatieri. Not only is it the longest this season in the NFL, it is the longest in the history of the New England Patriots.
And that kick he had last year against Oakland in the divisional playoffs off the snowbank is still the most clutch kick I have ever seen.
I couldn't agree more. And the ensuing kickoff by Vinatieri, who's been short on his kickoffs. This is Ahmad Merritt inside the 10, getting a block, and then grabbed by Otis Smith out about the 32-yard line. 21-yard return. Kickoffs and the length of those kickoffs have been an issue for Vinatieri.
Absolutely, but that's why you have so many starters covering kicks for New England.
With Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan, Champaign, Illinois. We're tied at 3, a 57-yard field goal moments ago by Adam Vinatieri, the longest in Patriot history. The ensuing kickoff, 32-yard line, 1st and 10, Chicago.
Somebody's missing a lid. You can't leave those things laying around.
That's right. Wear your hat. Keep your head on. They got Anthony Thomas in the backfield, and he gets the call. Picked up as he dives ahead to the 38, picking up 6 yards the quick way. Dropped down on the play by Roman Pfeiffer.
And what Chicago needs to keep doing is attack inside. And if you're going to attack inside, go behind Olin Kreutz, the center. I think he's one of the better centers in the NFL. He's the best offensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. Look at that nice double team inside. 2 double teams, 2 pushes. By the time Ted Johnson, 52, sees Anthony Thomas, he's about 6 yards deep into his backfield.
38-yard line, 2nd down and 4. Blocked by Pritchett. Anthony Thomas running outside. Forced that way. Flag has been thrown at about the 37-yard line. Teddy Bruschi was on the scene.
We got a hold against Chicago.
That's the 3rd penalty on the Chicago Bears today. New England has 2.
There's less flags out in front of the United Nations than Dick Geron sees on an average Sunday.
Offense. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Get breaking NFL news, exclusive analysis, and team power rankings. It's all at CBSSportsline.com or on AOL. Enter keyword CBS Sportsline. 2nd down. And 14 coming up for the Chicago Bears. The 3 penalties have all been on the Chicago offense this afternoon.
And it really plays into the field position game. So it puts Chris Chandler in this offense not only really further in a hole, it puts him into a field position advantage hole. Because you've got to get up towards that next marker, just so that the Patriot offense doesn't get too good a field position.
Outside the 27, second down 14, some play action. Helmet time, he fires a pass downfield and drops incomplete. As he was going for Booker at about the 42-yard line, covered by Bucky Jones, the former college running back, former quarterback, who is better suited, it looks like, at safety.
Oh, absolutely. People talked about him being too stiff. Watch Des White, number 80, and watch this part of the field, and you tell me who thought who was getting the ball. Des White jumps, tips it, and knocks it off just enough so Booker can't catch that pass. Just a little attention to detail, just a little something you're not doing perfectly can stop a drive.
Bears have to get to the 42, third down 14.
Okay.
Chandler, the pocket crumbling, fires, bobbled, reeled in by Marcus Robinson, and he is close to a first down up near the 42-yard line on 3rd and 14. Looks like he's got 13 yards. Let's go to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, fellas, Garrison Hurst had the Niners up 10-3, but the Chiefs answered back with who else? Priest Holmes, his 16th touchdown overall this season. 10-10, 9 minutes to go, first half. Back to you.
16's the most in the NFL.
That is going to be an offensive show. If you like the Arena League, you're going to love the Niners and the Chiefs, because you're going to see about 70-something points scored in that football game. As good as the defense of San Francisco can be, their weakness is directly proportionate to the things that Chiefs do really well.
Chiefs were off last week with the bye, and Steve Mariucci, as you can see, the Bears short by the length of a football. Steve Mariucci took his team into Oakland last week and beat the Raiders in overtime.
By eating up the ball.
Yes.
And I don't care what people say about a bad overtime system. When you kick somebody's butt that bad in the 4th quarter and into overtime, you should win the football game. They shouldn't get the ball back.
Randy 4th and less than a yard, and they're inside their own 45. Is it a good call by Dick Geron?
This is trying to get them off sides. And if they're actually running and trying to get this thing, I think they're out of their minds. You're better off punting and getting into the field position game. You got to try to be getting somebody off sides.
Quarterback sneak, and the second time the quarterback has run it today and has got a first down with the leap out near the 43-yard line.
Well, I guess they must be out of their minds, but if you're going to call this with a veteran quarterback like Chris Chandler and you're Dick Geron, you know where you go, and it's no real mystery. You go right behind Olin Kreutz, your center.
Kreutz, the last guy to get off that pile, too.
That's exactly where he went, right behind 57, right here, Olin Kreutz. That's the guy he goes behind. That's the face under that helmet, and why not? I still think they're nuts. I'd have punted that thing down, and I'd have pinned them back in their own territory.
Chandler is hurt. They are looking at him on the field right now, and a guy who has had a litany of concussions. Looks like he's fiddling around with his jaw now. Jim Miller has been the starter, but he's missed time because he's got severe tendinitis in his right elbow, his throwing elbow, and possible rotator cuff problems in his right shoulder. So Chandler is down as he got whacked pretty good, maybe a knee to the helmet.
This is part of, I think, you're nuts.
Yes.
You're risking your quarterback.
Timeout. Chris Chandler just walked off under his own power, but they're looking at his neck, and in is Jim Miller, who started last week for the Chicago Bears against the Philadelphia Eagles. First down and 10, 43. Leon Johnson wants to throw and does downfield. He's got Booker. And he's out of bounds in Patriot territory, but they called it a catch. They're discussing it. They have, and the ball will be spotted at the 31-yard line, a 26-yard connection.
There's Leon Johnson. Check him out. If you're going to be crazy and do stuff out of the box, you might as well get all the way out of the zip code of the box. And this surprises everybody in the stadium, including Bill Belichick and his staff. So Bucky Jones gets there late. Leon Johnson says, what's the big deal? I had it in me all the time.
You've got a quarterback who can't throw, so go to your running back, your receivers to throw the ball. Outside the 30 of New England, 1st and 10 for Chicago. Anthony Thomas trying to find a crystal aerial block, and you can see an avalanche of Patriots right there. Very little gain on the play, 2nd down and long.
And what we're seeing too, Kevin, here today is a very crisply well-played half by the Chicago Bears against a team coming off a huge win. And you don't need a better illustration than this half, really, to tell you how important games are from week to week. We tend to really just sort of crown these teams that do so well and degrade these teams that do so poorly on a week-to-week basis. I mean, New England is nowhere near the team they were last week, and Chicago is much better than they were last week.
Inside the 30, 2nd down and 9. Miller across the middle, caught by Pritchett. Brought down on the play by McGinnis. Gets a gain of 7 yards, and it's to the 22-yard line. And I'm assuming that Jim Miller's passes, for the most part, will be about that length most of the day.
Can you say Hervé Villachez? Short, very short, be very short passing game.
They're playing.
That's right. They're all short. You know, and you know, if you're going to be crazy, maybe that's the theme that they need here in Chicago for the rest of the year on offense for the Chicago Bears. Is we're the Bears, and we're just a little off center.
So with the bad arm, he's out there backing up the injured Chris Chandler as Chicago burns their 2nd timeout.
Right now, I'm looking at Chris Chandler walking toward me without his helmet on. I just got a report from the Bears, and it's odd. They don't really know what they're looking at yet. They can't really give me a report. They're looking from the shoulder up. He is walking toward me and perhaps toward the inside. You can see him right now. He's rubbing the back of his neck. And the trainers, once again, I'm told by the Bears, they don't know exactly what area they're looking at, but as he passes me now, he is quite stiff. Back to you.
And Beasley, on a couple of the replays, you could see Lawyer Malloy just smushed him right on the top of his head.
3rd down and 2 after the Chicago timeout. They run Anthony Thomas up the middle for nothing. McGinnis down the top of that pile. The middle does it as we send you to New York in Jim Nance.
All right, check this out, fellas. The final play of overtime. Tommy Maddox, a Pittsburgh record today, 473 passing yards, and it is caught by Plexico Burress, but he's ruled down inside the 1 to end the game in a tie, the first NFL tie since 1997. Let's go back to you.
And Pittsburgh was up 34-17 in that game. Thank you, Jim. Here's a 40-yard field goal try by Paul Ettinger, who's already knocked one in from 39 yards today. And he puts the Chicago Bears up on top of the Super Bowl champion Patriots 6-3.
The Bears are controlling the game, but they've lost their quarterback.
Chicago Bears just got a 40-yard field goal from Paul Ettinger, 6-3. New England got a 57-yard career-long, NFL-long, and Patriot-long field goal from Vinatieri. Line drive boot, and out of bounds. The rookie Branch, who takes it, being chased by Ahmad Merritt. Mike Green forces him out of bounds near the 24-yard line. A 6-yard return. Well, the Chicago Bears faced the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 20. The Bears went 15-1 in the regular season and shut out their 2 opponents in the playoffs. Chicago set 2 Super Bowl records in the game, including most points scored and largest margin of victory en route to a 46-10 win, highlighted by that refrigerator Perry 1-yard touchdown dive.
And when you have the best defense ever and a 350-pound fullback, you got a little bit of an edge going in.
From the 24, 1st and 10 for Brady across the middle to Troy Brown, chased by Urlacher, whacked by McQuarters, and he's up to the 35 for a gain of 11 and a 1st down. What about adjustments, Randy? Have you seen any on either side?
Well, you're not going to see much in the way of adjustments yet. You're going to see Troy Brown coming out here, working across the field, and it's what Troy Brown does well right now because they're not getting Troy Brown open much down the field in the long pass. He's only got 1 touchdown this year, way down from last season where he was such a big hit.
Brown hasn't got a touchdown in 7 weeks. 5 catches today, though, most on 3rd down. From the 35, 1st and 10. Outside to go to Antoine Smith with his 13th reception of the season. McQuarters makes the tackle, no gain on the play. Word from the sideline about Bears quarterback Chris Chandler, a neck sprain, and he is questionable with his return.
Hey, you mentioned earlier about adjustments. And if you're the staffs right now, you've almost started your second half adjustments from what they've seen. And Tom Brady and this offense are going to go in at halftime, look at the snapshots, and make some adjustments to what they're really being offered, because they're being confused right now by Chicago's D.
Second down and 10. Big hole for Antoine Smith, and Mike Green quickly shuts the door. Gain of 2 to the 42-yard line. Well, this week, log on to NFL.com as Phil Simms offers his thoughts on the worst and most annoying cliches you hear during game telecast. What's this? It's a can't miss read. Forget this. Don't even know. NFL.com or AOL keyword NFL.com.
Hey, you're taking one game at a time, you know.
You got to come to play. He's a gamer, Tom Brady. Third down and 3.
Watch Troy Brown in motion.
Snap by Compton. The block by Light. The pass across the middle is incomplete. And out of the reach of the diving rookie tight end, Daniel Graham. And again, New England has got a punt.
And Mike Caldwell on coverage there. He was brought in here. Last year he was with the Eagles, brought in here to be really the man. And Bobby Howard has been starting in front of him. But here in the nickel, he makes a nice play to stop this New England drive. And it's another example of one of the things that they're doing. Just another little thing Chicago's defense is doing to confuse, frustrate, or just flat stop this New England offense.
Patriots have not converted a third down all day. 0-5. Now they got a punt. And Ken Walter out of Kent State will take care of that. Leon Johnson circles under it, signals for the fair catch, back at about the 13-yard line. That is a 46-yard punt. And the Bears, with their new quarterback, Jim Miller, will take over. Well, we're playing in Champaign because Soldier Field is being renovated. And they began on January 19th, immediately after the Bears' playoff home loss to the Eagles. The new stadium seating capacity, 61,500. Bears got a $200 million contribution, including a $100 million loan from the NFL as one of the largest private contributions to a publicly owned NFL stadium. There it is, in perhaps the most gorgeous piece of real estate for any stadium in the NFL.
And one of the biggest competitive disadvantages in the NFL right now is the Bears having to play every single game as a road game. They need to finish that stadium fast.
Yeah, they fly down to Champaign, which is about a 20-minute flight, but they're nonetheless getting on a plane every weekend from the 13 first and 10. They dump it outside. Anthony Thomas got down by Otis Smith, who called his name a lot. He's a 13-year veteran out of the University of Missouri. Gain of 4 on the play.
If you're a New England Patriots defensive coach, and you're talking about adjustments, and you've got guys like Otis Smith and Teddy Johnson and Teddy Bruschi, and there's Romeo Cornell, the defensive coordinator, Chris Chandler's gone. So unless Marty Booker or Leon Johnson throw the ball down the field, you don't have to worry much about the deep pass. You're worrying about mainly short dink and dunk type passes. You can pack up your defense more against the run and on a short pass.
Just outside the 16, second down and 6. Jim Miller blocked by Big Cat Williams. Time for Miller, fires a pass which is caught by tight end John Davis. It's a gain of 8, brought down by Roman Pfeiffer, and he is up to the 25-yard line for a Chicago first down.
You know, something you don't spend enough time talking about is little things for receivers. Now, here's Davis lined up here, but watch what he does when he gets over the ball. He levels his shoulder horizontal to the line of scrimmage and gives his quarterback a big target to hit. See, Miller's back. He doesn't know what to do, but look at the big target, the chest, the numbers. You know, how's a defensive back like Laurie Malloy supposed to get around a tight end that big without interfering when he turns like that?
It's a big jersey. 2-minute warning. Veterans Day weekend, Veterans Day tomorrow. Bears up here 6-3. And speaking of that woman you see right there is Janice M. Skelly. She is a Bears season ticket holder, and she is a U.S. Army Chief Warrant Officer stationed in Afghanistan. She's a part of an Apache helicopter unit in Charlie Company of the 101 Aviation Unit. Our thanks to her, our congratulations for serving our country. We thank her. First down and 10 at the 25. Jim Miller. With Chris Chandler injured, he's in the game. It's bobbled and dropped incomplete. Going for Leon Johnson with the coverage by Willie McGinnis, who plays on the defensive line and can play some linebacker.
And this is exactly what I was talking about a couple plays ago with Jim Miller in the game now. You're talking about a short zone to worry about. So you'll see the area right about in here is all that this defense has to worry about. They're not talking about what's down the field. They're talking about defending a small, cramped area with 7 to 8 defenders.
No turnovers yet by Chicago. Second down and 10. And here comes Hamilton chasing Miller, who throws outside. Des White makes the reception on the far side at the 26. A meager gain of a yard. McGinnis covering, and we told you Bobby Hamilton was hot on the heels of Jim Miller.
But with the tendonitis that Jim Miller has in that right arm, it affects a couple things. One, it affects the strength as far as the gripping and the throwing of the ball. And as the game goes on and on here, like last week, he had a sparkling first half against Philadelphia and just couldn't get the whole thing going throwing the ball. And it was mainly arm strength in the second half as the tendonitis seemed to really bother him more and more.
This is a Chicago team, too, as we've got an official's timeout, that considered trading for Drew Bledsoe in the offseason. Now they're going to review the catch. It's inside 2 minutes, and this is a booth challenge. The coaches cannot challenge inside 2. The booth is doing it upstairs.
You know, Chris Chandler lives in Atlanta, and I know Chris very well. And I was telling Dick Duran the other day, you know, in the offseason, he was trying to make a decision. Where do I go? Do I go to Chicago? Do I go, you know, what's Bledsoe going to do? What's going on? You know, and here we take another look. You got the ball. You got 2 steps. You have it. I think that's clearly a catch. But Chandler's decision, and I remember telling him on one occasion, saying, look, you look at the receivers Dick Duran's got in Chicago. If it's even close to a decision,
whether the ball was caught in bounds.
You got to go with this team, because I can't say enough. And as much as a dink and dunk and short passing game as they've got going on in Chicago right now, you got Marcus Robinson, David Terrell, who will be coming back soon. You've got Des White. You've got Marty Booker. You've got a lot of talent at wide receiver that can get down the field. But Robinson's probably the key guy, he and Terrell. But Robinson's still coming back from a knee injury.
But think what you do if you add a Bledsoe to this team. You knock your salary cap all out of whack, but you bring in a leader, a 30-year-old quarterback, and a guy who has got a rocket. And Jim Miller, you've got basically a journeyman quarterback who was given an off-season contract because of his play last year.
After reviewing the play, it is a good catch.
Well, you know, there's not many win-win trades. And really, Drew leaving New England was win-win for Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots. Bledsoe got what he got. You see Chandler coming out there, the trailer walking along.
He's done.
Yeah, he's very, very stiff, the whole neck, upper body area.
3rd down and 9 from the 26 with Miller throwing a pass that is caught but shy of a first down. Grabbed at the 33-yard line. It's caught on the play by Marty Booker.
Tackled by Piker.
And brought down but shy of a first down. Looks like the Bears are going to have to punt. New England will get it back. Yeah, that Buffalo trade for Bledsoe was a win-win trade, wasn't it?
Another great example, San Diego and Atlanta. Atlanta got Michael Vick. San Diego got Breeze, Tomlinson. I mean, both teams benefited. Buffalo and New England, both teams really came out on the plus side.
2 safeties back for the Patriots. Maynard, well-booted. Falk and Troy Brown are deep back. And this is Troy Brown, who then bumps into his own player. That's Leonard Myers, who was just brought off the physically unable to perform list. 45-yard punt and 11-yard return. So we're going to see Tom Brady, who last week threw 3 touchdown passes. Missed the first one, caught by Christian Fourier. And then Brady went to Antoine Smith for the first of his 2 touchdown receptions.
And as crisp and as focused as the Patriots were last week, this week they are not. And I don't think it's a function really of New England not being ready to play. I think New England is surprised, especially by the Bears defense and how they're handling their offense. Got to give this Bears defense all the credit in this.
32-yard line, it's a handoff, and Kevin Falk zigzags his way, and a block from Compton, and down he goes with Urlacher making the grab. It's a gain of 9. The interesting thing was New England has tried to get better starts because they've been falling behind at halftime in many games this year.
Well, that's because their game plan does not allow for that. No one has a game plan to be down 10-0, 14-0, 20-0.
2nd down 1, 41-yard line. Urlacher rushing, but there he dumps it off. And it's caught by Kevin Falk with the nice downfield block by Andruzzi. Out of bounds he goes inside the Chicago 35. It's a gain of 26. The versatile Kevin Falk out of LSU.
Great smarts and guts by Brady there, holding that ball until Urlacher was just there to open up that side of the field.
Nextel halftime on deck from New York. Jim Dion, Dan and Boom are set to give you scores and news of the day. The Nextel halftime from New York is next. At the 34, it's 1st and 10. Falk remains in the backfield. Brady. Nice block by Robinson Randall. This is off to Deion Branch, who wiggles his way inside the 25, close to a first down. He had to get to the 24. They spot it shy by a yard.
Second and 1 at the Bears 25.
Nice adjustment because Mike Caldwell took that reception away and adjusting inside opened it up.
Second down, 125 across the middle. And slashing is Troy Brown for a first down to the Chicago 16. The Patriots have a timeout, and they burn their last one. That's it on a gain of 9. Lot to think about, lot to talk about on that sideline as Vinatieri readies himself. What were Charlie Weiss and Tom Brady talking about on the sideline?
Well, you got 25 seconds to go. It's first down. They didn't take that timeout to run it. I want to get Troy Brown in the end zone. I want to get David Patton in the end zone. I want to get Christian Fourier in the end zone. I'm throwing it deep, or at least as far as I can go without still getting my touchdown.
Gotcha. 16-yard line, 1st and 10. 25 seconds to play. New England out of timeouts. And a bullet thrown, caught by David Patton. It's a gain of 4. He's to the 12.
That's the guy I was talking about earlier, Mike Caldwell. The ex-Eagle hasn't played much here, done much here in Chicago. 2 nice plays back-to-back.
He spikes it with 8 seconds to play. Can't stop the clock because they're out of timeouts, and they're going to have to settle for 3. So the Bears do hold New England out of the end zone, and they'll try for a 3-point try.
If you'd have told Bears fans you're going to be potentially tied 6-6 at the end of the first half with the defending world champions today, they'd have said, give me that in a second. And if you'd have said the same thing to Bill Belichick and Patriots fans, you'll be tied with the Bears, they'd say, man, what did we mess up?
31-yard try by Vinatieri, who has a 57-yard field goal in his pocket already. And that ties the game at 6. So 2 field goals on each side. And Bill Belichick will take what he thinks will be a tie score into his locker room at halftime. Well, here's our NFL.com poll today. Which player should be the 2002 NFL MVP? I've got my choice.
Today, I wouldn't want to date any of them. What do you mean to date?
No. To this particular day.
To this day? Oh, okay, give me Priest Holmes.
Really?
Right now, Priest Holmes is the most valuable guy on his football team. I mean, Drew Bledsoe is very good. Brett Favre's unbelievable. But who would have thought that back-to-back years Priest Holmes be doing what he's doing in this league?
It's hard to disagree with that. 16th touchdown of the season he scored today in San Francisco earlier. You'll see some of those highlights from New York with Jim and crew in just a few seconds as you take a look at Tom Brady discussing things with Charlie Weiss on the sideline.
You know, and as warm and fuzzy a story as Tom Brady was last year and still is this year, and you know what an unbelievable story. You know, as a kid out of St. Gregory's Elementary School in San Mateo, California, suddenly is the MVP of the Super Bowl.
He was telling us that you spoke to his elementary school when he was a kid.
Who'd have thought I'd be talking to a Super Bowl MVP?
Exactly.
This is 1985.
That's a great story. Vinatieri will kick off. And the squib boot over everybody with great bounce, and that is only his 2nd touchback of the season. As you can see, Ahmad Merritt smothering the ball. That takes us to halftime. And the big story, I guess, if there is one, the fact that Chicago has tied the Super Bowl champions. The Bears coming in have lost 6 consecutive games, but a 57-yard field goal by Adam Vinatieri. Let's go downstairs to Beasley Reeves.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm with Dick Duran. Dick, it's a great battle, great defensive battle going on. Probably going to come down to some type of adjustment. What are you going to tell the guys?
Well, we just got to keep playing like we're playing. Obviously, we'd like to score. You know, we've moved the ball okay at times against them, and they're a quality defensive team, but we got to get it in the end zone when we get our chances. I think that's what the game's going to come down to. You know, someone's got to get the ball in the end zone. Both defenses have played really well.
Talk to me about your quarterback. Do you have any information on him, and what does that throw into your plan?
Well, Chris got hit in the head, and what they told me, he's got a real stiff neck, and they're inside working on his neck. There's no injuries that they're aware of, so he's fine, which is the good news. We'll just have to see how quickly he can come around.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Beasley, thank you very much. So Chandler is out at least for the game, we think, and Jim Miller will be in there, bad arm and all, but he has moved the team when he's been in there at quarterback.
And the key word in that conversation between Beasley and Dick Duron is adjustments. How good can Dick Duron and his staff adjust against Bill Belichick and his staff, who are some of the best in the business at halftime adjustments?
We're at halftime and we're tied at 6 in Champaign. Ready to begin the second half with Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan, and Vinatieri will kick off. Ahmad Merritt, Leon Johnson are deep. Second kick inside the 10-yard line by Vinatieri. Ahmad Merritt brought down by Matt Shadow. 22-yard return up to the 32-yard line of the sideline, and Beasley Reese.
Thank you, Kevin. I walked back onto the field with Coach Bill Belichick of the Patriots. He talked mostly about doing better on third down on both sides of the ball. He also talked about time of possession. He would like to get better control of the clock, of course. And you know how Bill is. Our conversation was brief, but he's worried about doing better on third down. Back to you.
Hey, you know, Bees, it all really gets back to the conversation from last night, talking about field position and really time of possession and who's going to make the big mistake that the game turns on.
Anthony Thomas in the backfield, the fake handoff by Miller. Olin Freaks with the block, and the wobbly pass incomplete, looking downfield for tight end John Davis. That might be as much as he can throw in terms of velocity.
But, you know, if you're the offensive coordinator, John Shute, for the Chicago Bears, you've got to go to a different sort of bag of tricks here, because that was a very good play call. New England in that defense was attacking inside, and you rolled your quarterback out quickly. You had the opportunity. I'm just not really sure you've got the arm with Miller right now with that tendonitis to pull off some of the things they're going to want to try to do.
His long completion today has been 8 yards. Second down 10 from the 31. The pitch out to Anthony Thomas. A little bit of blocking, but not too much Ty Law to make the stop. You know, speaking of John Shute, the offensive coordinator for the Bears, he's been taking some heat, and the problem, people say, is he's too conservative. What do you think?
Well, all offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators take a lot of heat, especially when things aren't going well. You know, everyone wants to say, hey, look, when you're down, you got to be even more special. You got to be even more imaginative. Well, yeah, that's not how you prepare for a football game. You don't prepare to get down like that. The main criticism I can see that is warranted with this offense, the line's too soft, and they don't go downfield often enough.
Johnson and Thomas in the backfield, third down 10, 31-yard line. Blocking for Miller, who fires again a wobbly pass intended for Marcus Robinson, who is covered by both Victor Green and Otis Smith. And 3 and out for the Chicago Bears. They got a punt.
And that's a good example of the kind of NFL pass you really need to be able to throw when you're working against Ty Law and Otis Smith. You got to be able to throw that deep out, and that deep out was about 5 yards less deep than it needed to be.
Troy Brown is deep back. He's returned 3 punts in his career for touchdown. Belichick says the best he's ever seen returning punts. Dancing away here from Abdullah, dancing away from Bobby Howard. A flag is thrown in there. He's brought down by Larry Wiggum, among others. 38-yard punt, 5-yard return.
And really, special teams is a missing ingredient from last year that people really didn't talk enough about. They want to talk about Tom Brady, but special teams beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Special teams ended up winning the Super Bowl. Special teams was a real plus for this football team last year, and it's another one of the things that they've got to get back on track if they want to get in a situation where they can win those kind of games.
There's Brad Seeley, who is the special teams coach.
With a look he described as incredulous.
Good word.
In my world, it's what are you,
in the
nuts?
back. Number 33. of the return team during the return. 10-yard penalty, first down. Timeout.
Well, a disgruntled Brad Seeley, the special teams coach for the Patriots, and we are tied at 6. Patriots will get it for the first time in this second half. We're tied at 6.
I think the key to the adjustments that the New England Patriots have to make on offense all revolve around their offensive line. Better run blocking and better protection for Brady.
23-yard line, first and 10. The pitch out goes to Antoine Smith, who tries to cut the corner, then is brought down by Mike Green. There has been some shuffling on that offensive line, Randy, for New England, and Charlie Weiss is starting the same unit for the first time, a second game in a row, like he did last week against Buffalo.
Well, Kenyatta Jones was starting 2 weeks ago. Today he's inactive because Greg Robinson-Randall is in at right tackle, and you know, Damian Woody, the center, probably the best player. Compton, the left guard, becomes the center when they shotgun snap, but as a unit, it's going right at this Bear defense. Don't go sideways. You're playing into their strength.
Second down 10. The Patriots going into the wind. The block by Robinson-Randall, but then the pocket crumbles. It's a fumble and recovered by the Chicago Bears inside the New England 15. Grabbed, I believe, by Philip Daniels inside the ex-Seattle Seahawk, who smothers the ball. It's the first turnover of the game.
You want to talk about the things that turn a game? How do you turn a game? You get up the field if you're Alex Brown. You get up the field if you're Philip Daniels. You crush the pocket. The offensive line, they were going to get the run blocking going and protect Brady better. The defensive line made the better adjustment, nullifying anything that Brady's offensive line tried to do.
That's a turnover story in their wins and losses this season.
And that was just good, clean execution, and that's the kind of play games turn on.
Bears have it, 14-yard line on the turnover, first down and 10. Anthony Thomas around a Valerio block and diving for 3 near the 11.
But Kevin, remember what Dick Duran said to Beasley when they were going in at the half. You know, things are good, it's a defensive game, but when we get these chances, we got to finish it off with a touchdown. Because you can look at these possessions against a team like New England at the end of the game and go, man, if we'd only had those extra 4 points, we'd have won or we'd have tied. Or when you get these circumstances, these opportunities, go for the throat, finish it off.
Second down and 7 from the 11. Miller to the end zone. Caught for a touchdown, Stanley Pritchett.
That all comes off Alex Brown's sack. Watch the running backs. Watch the effect it has on the defense. You'll see the linebackers move, and you'll see Roosevelt. I mean, he comes right out of the backfield and easily gets open. I mean, that is just a nice laid-out pass. Miller can't throw it far, but he sure threw it accurate right there to Stanley Pritchett.
Miller's 11th touchdown pass of the season, and for Stanley Pritchett, an ex-Miami Dolphin, his first touchdown reception of the year, and the Chicago Bears lead by 7. The Chicago Bears just cashed in on a New England fumble. Fullback Stanley Pritchett just grabbed his first touchdown reception since 1999. And he puts the Chicago Bears on top 13-6. The wind just blew the ball off the tee, and it is a wind that is picking up as the game has gone on.
Well, that's why Vinatieri got the 57-yarder. He's got a strong leg, but the wind helped. And Stanley Pritchett, you know what he got? He got a pillow.
Very soft.
Because Miller just laid that thing out. He didn't throw it hard, but when you're throwing to a fullback, you don't want to challenge his hands. He laid that one in just perfectly right over the shoulder.
Kevin Falk and Deion Branch are deep for the New England Patriots. Branch will take it from 2 yards out of the end zone. Tripped up, brought down nicely on the play. Abdullah, who is a reserve running back, brought him down on a 24-yard return. Let's see what Tom Brady's got up his sleeve when we come back. After a Jim Miller touchdown pass and the ensuing kickoff, the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots begin at their own 22, first down and 10. Fake to Antoine Smith, and Brady goes the other way to rookie tight end Daniel Graham, who is smothered and brought down, devoured by Mike Brown, a loss in the play of 2. Coming into the game, Randy, I think a lot of people thought Chicago's best chance of disrupting the New England defense was to put Brian Urlacher all over the field, making him unpredictable.
But if you're unfamiliar with the Chicago Bears, there's more to this Bears defense than Brian Urlacher. Christian Peter, Philip Daniels, Alex Brown, the rookie out of Florida. I mean, they have everybody making plays, and there's the doctor of defense here in Chicago, Greg Bloss.
Second down, 12, back at the 20. Looked like Light may have moved the left tackle. I mean, there's no doubt.
Start, number 72, offense. 5 yards, second down.
There's no doubt that Urlacher causes a disruption and causes the offense to draw attention, but you're right, there are so many other parts. Keith Traylor is one of them.
Here's a disruption with feet.
Right.
I mean, he blocks out the sun and the offensive line when he gets in front of Brian Urlacher.
Second down, 17 from the 15. And Antoine Smith slips the tackle of Urlacher, but he did slow him down, and he's up to the 25, picking up 10 yards.
And I'll reiterate, that is what Antoine Smith and this offense needs to do. The success they had in the first quarter and in the second quarter was going right straight ahead. The success Antoine Smith had last week against Buffalo, once he got the ball receiving it, he ran straight ahead. And when he ran with the ball, offensively rushing, they ran straight downhill. And right now, that's how you should attack Chicago. Don't be cute. Cute will get you beat.
New England has not converted a third down all day. The play clock at 8 seconds and a timeout taken by the Patriots. They'll burn their first in the second half. Pondering Bill Belichick and a Tom Brady visit to the sideline. Chicago Bears leading 13-6, 25-yard line, 3rd and 7. What do you call it through New England?
I think a screen pass isn't bad here. He's gone to Troy Brown twice on 3rd down, and they haven't gotten it either time.
On the 25. Whoa! Roosevelt Colvin is in the backfield.
That was unabated at or near the quarterback.
He was not induced.
Number 59, defense. Offside, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Chicago's defense, Randy, was penalized 9 times last week in the game against Philadelphia.
They kept a lot of Donovan McNabb's drives going. It's something that Greg Bloss, the defensive coordinator, it's got to drive him nuts because they're making the plays. They made them last week. They're playing good defensively. The last thing you want to do is go out of your way to help Tom Brady.
Now 3rd and 2 with the penalty up near the 30. Shotgun snap from Compton. Great time for Brady. Dumps it across, incomplete. Looking for tight end Cameron Cleveland. The coverage by former Philadelphia Eagles starter Mike Caldwell. And the momentum in the game is shifting, and New England has got a punt.
Check the receivers in the bunch, the receivers in motion, but look at what the defense does in this part of the field once the receivers get there and start their little crisscross and their little motion. They're trying to pick people, they're trying to make people move, and they're doing a great job of stuffing the receivers of New England.
Can Walter the punt, Leon Johnson back inside the 30. This is into the wind, and it's kept low, and it's returnable by Johnson, who is finally belted and brought down on the play by Gerard Cherry. A 35-yard punt, and Leon Johnson slow to get up.
Well, that's more embarrassment than anything else.
Flag back at the 25.
You said it was returnable, just wasn't very catchable.
Yes. This is against New England. Last week the Patriots played Buffalo. Next week they play Oakland. Where was their emotion coming into today?
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask foul on the right guard, number 58. Half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down.
Matt Shannon, this is the classic sandwich game.
The sandwich game. You got the Raiders next week, a rematch of that divisional game that We talk about that clutch kick that Vinatieri had against the Raiders, and last week was a big Bledsoe Bowl. And where in your priorities do the little Chicago Bears land?
Who lost 6 consecutive games coming into today.
You know, honestly, going into the game here, and after talking to the Patriots yesterday, I was of the opinion that this was not a sandwich game, because I thought New England was ready to play. And you know what? I think New England was ready to play. The problem is Chicago, especially defensively, is more ready to play. They've turned it into a sandwich game for Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and at this point, you're just wanting to try to get out of here, just wiggle out as the meat in the middle of the sandwich and hope you can go home with a win.
I see some of your classic hidden yards coming into play right here. We'll talk about that in a second as Walter will again boot it into the wind. Bad punt. And dying at about the 44. It's all about the hidden yard theory you've got.
Well, the hidden yards. Remember where Leon Johnson was laying on the ground embarrassed? 20-yard difference between where he was and where they're getting the ball.
The Bears are on top, and they are using the fans here in Champaign. All these players are turning around, and they're getting these fans to jump up and down. It's like they are college players. There's much more emotion from the Chicago Bears right now than there's coming from the world champion New England Patriots. The Patriots have got to pick it up emotionally if they plan to match the emotion of the Bears. Back to you.
Jim Miller makes his 2nd consecutive start in New England territory from the 44, 1st and 10, end around. Looks like Booker wants to pass. The former high school quarterback downfield, and it's caught by Robinson with a Chicago touchdown.
Folks, this is now officially a sandwich game, and John Shoup and the offensive team for the Chicago Bears is so far out of the box, they're almost conventional. Marty Booker to Marcus Robinson. Beasley was just talking about emotion. Suddenly for the Chicago Bears, they're now the Champaign Bears because they have got some serious home field edge going.
Extra point good. What is ironic about that is that Booker and Robinson connected on a touchdown pass last year. It's the 2nd of Booker's NFL career, and the 2nd time he has thrown to Marcus Robinson for a touchdown.
You want the defense to react this way and then go back. You want them to worry about the run. Then they're worrying about the pass. That ball, with the wind, got right over the top of Bucky Jones to Marcus Robinson. See, even Booker's not positive he threw that far enough, but the wind lofted it up to Robinson. Good point. Bucky Jones was positive it was going to come down. See, here comes Booker. He's going to come around. Robinson's going to head down the field. But look at Bucky Jones. Watch the safeties and how they handle this play. The linebackers react. The safeties are back. Now look at Bucky Jones. There's Bucky. He figures he's got it, but the ball floats. It's with the wind, and you'll hear for the next 10 minutes of the 3rd quarter and all of the 4th quarter, we're going to be talking a lot about the wind, because now it's an official field position wind game that the New England Patriots are having a real hard time handling.
Patriots will have the wind in the 4th quarter as Robinson picks up his first touchdown reception of the season, a kid who's coming back from a major knee operation a season ago. So now Chicago will kick off. They've scored 14 points in a little over 2 minutes. And with the wind, Edinger booms this baby into the end zone again. Well, Branch will take it out and drop down nicely on the play by defensive lineman rookie Brian Knight out of Pitt. Then he hustled down, stopping a 21-yard gain. Now we'll see what kind of come-from-behind team the Patriots are.
Well, you know, we talk a lot about coordinators. You mentioned that, you know, Shoup was under fire with the Chicago Bears, and everybody wasn't happy with what, you know, that's where you hear a lot of youth stink. Well, right now, how's he smell now? Yeah. You know, he's got a reverse pass. He's got a halfback pass. They're doing some different things. They're adjusting better than New England. They're adapting to having Miller at quarterback by doing different things out of the box. so far so good for the Bears.
The starter, Chris Chandler, was knocked out back in the first half. And here comes Brady on 1st and 10. Sings it on the side, and it's caught by Patton. Close to a first down. He's out of bounds shy of the 30. Monday in an all-new late show, Dave Wilkins, the one and only Robin Williams, plus from the CSI Miami show, Emily Proctor. And Tuesday, don't miss Dallas Cowboys star running back Emmitt Smith. It's the Late Show with David Letterman right here on CBS, America's most watched network.
Robin Williams, wow. Talk about out of the box. That boy ain't right.
Second and 1 handoff for no gain to Antoine Smith, who tried to carve something up the middle, and now Brady's going to have a 3rd and 1 with which to deal with.
And the defense of the Chicago Bears, you know, you got Boone inside, you got Urlacher at linebacker, you got Keith Traylor. Look at guns ahead. Quit showing off, Brian. Come on, man. It's a family crowd. 3rd and 1. That's the down. That's the territory of the big wide bodies inside, stuffing his guards in the center back into Tom Brady's lap.
3rd down and 1. Play action by Brady, who goes outside, knocked away beautifully by Brian Urlacher on a pass intended for Mark Edwards, and the Patriots have to punt again.
If you're surprised by things that Brian Urlacher does, well, I'm sorry, you really shouldn't be. Because what Brian Urlacher does is goes this way as fast as any safety in this league. Former kick returner, former running back, former wide receiver, former safety at New Mexico. He breaks on the ball and breaks on the tackle like a corner. I mean, he's got that burst like a Deion Sanders, like a Philip Buchanan.
Ken Walter to punt. Leon Johnson at the 26. Got a nice block from Dusty Lyman. Down he goes at about the 30-yard line, a 4-yard return and a 45-yard punt.
Couple nice blocks and a whole lot of face full of Patriots. A lot of good those blocks did them.
Well, Miami will play the Jets, Buffalo, New England. You see right there in the middle, 5-4 and 4-4 respectively.
Hey, and what the New England Patriots need right now, you know, obviously you look at that, you need to win. But what they need now is a turnover defensively. You've got to create something. And, you know, Chicago, if that's the difference between this year and last year they created everything. The balls where they were tipped, they went up in the air, they returned them for touchdowns. If things went wrong, it was the other guy making mistakes. This year, it's been Chicago, but it sure as heck hasn't been today.
Anthony Thomas in the backfield from the 31st and 10, and Thomas. You kind of have a feeling you're going to get a heavy dose of Thomas. A gain of 2, stopped up in the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
You've got a 2-touchdown lead. I think with your defense, there's a real argument to be made, you know, that, hey, I'm not going to get conservative. I'm just not going to do anything stupid. I think if you're Dick Duran and the Bears, though, working against this team, what you need to do is you need to keep doing what you've been doing. Don't get conservative. Don't get predictable. Just keep guessing right.
32-yard line, and Miller faced with a 2nd down and 8. Tight end Davis on the move, and Miller to the air. Short pass, incomplete, looking for Pritchett. He just caught one of his passes in the end zone. There's cashed in on a New England fumble on an 11-yard touchdown pass from Miller to Pritchett. His first touchdown reception since 1999. And then a 44-yard touchdown pass by Booker, the former high school QB, to Marcus Robinson. They did it last year. They do it again this year. And that puts up the Chicago Bears 14 on New England.
And the little different things like that. You've had a halfback pass. Those are the kind of things the Bears can't get away from. You've got him here being creative and being tough on defense. Don't change now.
3rd down and 8 from the 32. Almost intercepted, incomplete, as Vrabel had it in his sights and in his hands and could not lasso it. The Bears have not turned the ball over today. They've only been penalized 4 times. You said those were 2 important ingredients on Chicago winning this afternoon.
Well, that's the way for Chicago to get healthy. You stop making stupid penalties and mistakes. You don't turn the ball over, and you have that focus and attention to detail that has helped New England in the past. Well, that's what Chicago did last year, and you're getting a little bit of the same this year. For the first time, these look like last year's Bears.
Maynard gets it high. That wind is a beautiful cushion. In the wings of the wind, it's Brown inside the 20. Tripped up and brought down nicely on the play by Chicago's Todd McMillan. 49-yard punt, 6-yard return. Well, tonight on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt stars as FBI agent Robert Hansen. He was the perfect FBI agent and the perfect family man. He was also the worst traitor in U.S. history. That's tonight, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story on CBS, America's most watched network. So now it's Tom Brady and New England. How is Brady developing, in your view, as a quarterback in this league?
I think the job that Charlie Weiss and the offensive staff have done with Brady looks more evident big week after big week for Brady. And this is the kind of situation where a quarterback cuts their teeth as far as, are you that extra special guy?
He just fumbled the snap from his center, Damian Woody, but he leaps back on it, losing a couple yards. Second down and about 12.
I said cut your teeth, not knock one out.
His leadership skills, I think, are even being more pronounced now with the year under his belt.
Well, he's a little anxious now. See, he's backing out. He's trying to get out of there. And that's where you almost have to almost tell yourself to take a deep breath. You know, it's one thing for a quarterback go in the huddle and say, guys, let's take it easy. We're not down that far. You have to say that to yourself right now if you're Tom Brady. Just relax a little bit. I can make the plays.
Back outside the 23, second down, 13. Good block by Robinson Randall, and it's intercepted. Brian Urlacher makes the theft. That's his first interception of the season, the 6th of his career. And the New England Patriots have turned it over for a second time today.
Watch Brian Urlacher right here the whole way. He'll never get out of your picture. He watches Brady. He watches Antoine Smith. He sees the ball. You tell me this guy wasn't a safety, kick returner, running back, wide receiver. That's an athletic move. When I said he wasn't really quite a great linebacker yet and said he's a good football player and a great tackler, he's a heck of a defensive football player right now. He'll develop into a great linebacker.
36-yard line, play action on 1st and 10 by Miller. A good block by Thomas, is running back, and it's incomplete downfield. It was looking for Des White. Second down and 10. Urlacher, coming into today, was the #1 tackler in the National Football League. Had 83 solo tackles.
Tell you, Kevin, he had Des White wide open right there. That could have been such a great job of taking advantage of a mistake. Remember the last mistake New England made, what they did with it. They took advantage of it. Exactly the same situation here. You want to get a little further out, control the ball, put up the points.
Second down and 10. Thomas getting a nice block from Pritchett, and there he goes. A foot race with Pfeiffer, and he is out of bounds at the 1. They'll spot him at the 2. 1st and goal, Chicago.
Are you kidding me? Is there any sanity in this league?
One week you're a bum, the next week you're a hero.
The Colts look terrible. They go in and strum the Eagles today. Last week, the Bears offense couldn't play dead. Right now, going against the defending world's champions, they look like Walter Payton in the '85 Bears offense, doing the unexpected and pounding the ball. This is what you have to do when you get a mistake. You take advantage, and you smack the other guy in the mouth.
1st and goal. Around a crisp aerial block. It's an easy walk-in touchdown for Anthony Thomas. The Chicago Bears cash in on the Tom Brady interception, helped on a 34-yard run by Anthony Thomas, which sets up his 2-yard touchdown run. And the Edinger extra point, and a bad snap is in.
This is a whole bottle of feel-good pills for the Chicago Bears. And this is just excellent offensive football. Valerio comes around. Olin Kurtz blocks back. Left, Gandy blocks down. Watch 58, Valerio, the right guard. Around, follow, stroll. It's usually around, follow, dive. But when your blocking's this good, you throw Stroll into the vocabulary because you don't have to worry about guys in New England Patriot jerseys.
Kevin Doggins was also in, and he throws a good block on that line. 21 unanswered points in the last 5.5 minutes by the Chicago Bears. Brian Urlacher's interception, the first by a Chicago linebacker this year. And it's 27-6 Chicago. Monday on CBS, an all-new night of America's Best Television, starring with the King of Queens. Yes, dear, everybody loves Raymond. Still standing, CSI Miami and The Late Show with David Letterman. After your local news, Monday here on CBS, America's most watched network.
Hey, Kevin, I really think I'd be remiss right now if I didn't mention something that Dick Jauron and his offense, like I said earlier, can't relax. His defense can't relax. It's 27-6, but those are the world champions on the other side. You've got 6 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the third quarter, and another quarter after that. Tom Brady and this offense are so dangerous, you got to keep pouring it on. You're going to have to face some serious trouble.
Edinger's boot into the end zone, and Branch will take it out. Deion Branch, the rookie from Louisville, brought down Bobby Howard, Mike Green combined, a 26-yard return, and he's doused at the 25. And Tom Brady getting final instructions. He'll take his offense back out there. Last year's Super Bowl MVP, and he came into today as the 6th-rated quarterback in the NFL.
You know the best way to overcome a 21-point deficit? One play, one first down, and one touchdown at a time. This is not impossible. They're going to get the ball at least 4 more times in this football game. But now's the time to start taking advantage of your possessions to get points.
25-yard line, 1st and 10 is Brady looking for his second option out of the backfield. Antoine Smith tripped up nicely on the play by Jerry Azuma. He gains 5 to the 30-yard line, 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, how often have we called Jerry Azuma's name today? How about R.W. McQuarters?
Not much.
How about the wide receivers for the New England Patriots? How big of a factor have they been? Not much. These defensive backs have locked up and locked down the biggest weapons for the New England Patriots.
No huddle offense, 30-yard line, 2nd down and 5. Brady across the middle. And he's got his tight end shy of a first down. That's for the first time today. Cameron Cleveland, the ex-New Orleans Saint. Cam Cleveland with his 13th reception of the year. He picks up on the play for 3rd and 1.
He's a good weapon on tight end. My favorite weapon they have, though, is the rookie, Daniel Graham. He can get down the field.
Very athletic. New England has not converted a 3rd down today. 0 of 7. Now they do. Troy Brown, who they've gone to on previous 3rd down plays, makes a catch, crosses the threshold. He's up to the 41, gaining 7 yards. Jacksonville on top of the Redskins. St. Louis coming from behind to beat San Diego, their 2nd consecutive loss. 1st down and 10. Brady again, it's Troy Brown, a gain of 4 near the 45.
Hey, I brought up the analogy last night to Tom Brady about a boxer. Getting up on your toes and jabbing and hitting and really getting into that rhythm. And for the first time tonight, that's sort of what this offense is starting to look like. They're going not in a hurry up, but just sort of a no huddle. And they're back on the balls of their feet again. And they're bouncing and they're hitting. And that's what they need to do to get back in this game.
2nd down and 6. Screen pass for Antoine Smith. The block downfield by Woody. Slashing inside. He takes it tumbling to the 36-yard line. 19-yard pickup and some good downfield blocking, which we saw last week from the Patriots in their win at Buffalo. And then as a Chicago Bear injured at about the 43-yard line, looks to be Alex Brown. Wednesday on CBS this week on The Amazing Race, the team travels through a maze of Moroccan streets, and they encounter a roadblock no one could predict. Don't miss The Amazing Race Wednesday here on CBS. Alex Brown is off the field, but there is somebody else down. 2nd of 2 Chicago injured players. They've already lost their starting quarterback today, Chris Chandler. Knocked out with a sprained neck in the first half. And let's go to the sideline in Beasley.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Even though we are only late in the third quarter, when you're leading 27-6, you change the way you call defenses. They're not in a prevent, but they are not being as aggressive as they were earlier. So, yeah, the Patriots are getting into a little bit of a stride, but it's a calculated defensive posture that I think the Bears are taking. Now that they're approaching the red zone, they should tighten it up a little bit and start attacking a little bit more. Back to you.
I think really, Beasley, the strength of Greg Blosch's Bears defense is attacking and being physical. I think it's a mistake to relax against this style of an offense with Tom Brady and give him the momentum and give him an opportunity to make him feel like he's back in the game. Like I said, one play, one first down, one score at a time. They're setting that up right now.
And wouldn't you say a lot of Chicago's problems this year have been because of injuries, especially defensive line injuries?
Well, injuries and a lack of attention. And I say that only in the context of the attention to detail. The stupid mistakes jumping off sides, dropping coverages because you are playing with guys that aren't normally in there. I just think it's been a whole combination of things, but if you're going to take advantage of what you have going on right now, you've got to be more aggressive, and right there is Big Ted Washington, a real key injury.
Well, they've had to go to a lot of rotations on that defensive line. Beasley, what do you have?
Well, another one of their problems is when you go 13-3, you get a much more difficult schedule the next year. For example, last week they played the NFC East champion Eagles. Today, the AFC East champion Patriots. Next week, the NFC West champion Rams. So, you know, it's a lot tougher schedule, so they're having a more difficult time at it, that along with the injuries, guys.
Well, the Bears will play at St. Louis next week. Detroit, then at Green Bay, then at Miami. That is a tough, and Detroit played at least early well against the Packers, and they're improving, but nonetheless, it's a tough month.
But that's the schedule you want. You take advantage of the easy schedule, but what you really want year in and year out are the tough games, or the tough teams. That's how you establish yourself as a quality team. One 13-3 season against an easy schedule, then falling back doesn't qualify you as a quality team in the NFL. You take an easy schedule and then make a good record out of it. Then you get a tough schedule and make a good record out of it. Then you're on your way.
Reggie Austin is being helped off his feet and onto the cart. And he will be taken off. He was one of 2 Bears that were injured on that play. Austin is 3 years out of Wake Forest.
You know, Kevin, we all came here today to see a high-powered, quick-strike offense. The only problem is the wrong one showed up. The Chicago Bears scoring drives, if you want to call them that, have been 40 seconds long, 9 seconds long, and 37 seconds long. That's what you expect out of New England, not the Bears.
Taking his place will be Damon Moore, who is a one-time starter with the Philadelphia Eagles. He wears number 37, so he'll be in the defensive secondary.
Keep an eye on Damon Moore. He was with the Eagles last year and had a big knee injury. Was a free agent, is just now coming back. If you're Charlie Weiss, that's a guy you want to get matched up. See how the wheel's doing.
Falk in the backfield, 1st and 10. Fake to Falk, the fake end around, it's off to Falk. A block by Fourier, and downfield he goes after gaining about 14 yards. Another first down, stopping the clock. Oh, no, they're going to leave it rolling. 3:50.
And they're not going to hurry up. This is not a hurry-up offense. This is just no huddle. Years ago, Sam White had his team in Cincinnati do this, and they just disrupted the entire league doing it.
Trey Rugemer is now in at right guard. 1st and 10. Kevin Falk, a Rugemer block, and Falk head over heels down to about the 15 on a gain of 6. And Truzzi is out. Now, we saw him leave the locker room late out of halftime, and we have not seen him much in the second half.
The key word for people was that Chicago had a patient offense. Well, right now, Tom Brady and the Patriots are being very patient and efficient.
2nd down 4, 15-yard line outside. Kevin Falk has an open track and takes it in, corkscrewing for a touchdown. A 15-yard touchdown reception. And the New England Patriots just might be back in business.
Well, it's just what I said. Dick Duran's defense can't be too soft. And if you're New England, you're down by 21. How do you overcome it? One big play, one first down, and one touchdown at a time. You've got Falk, and you're bringing him out. Watch the matchup. Clean, wide open, no blockers in front. But you know what? He didn't need them. He made him miss, and he got in.
Extra point try by Adam Vinatieri. 27-13 with 3:04 to play in the third quarter. Plenty of time. Falk picks up his second touchdown reception of the year. Brady throws his 19th touchdown pass.
Kevin, any questions about the value of a mobile quarterback like a Tom Brady, able to scoot out, get the ball quickly to your running back?
He's pretty good on that drive, too.
Well, 7 of 7 on that drive is all that patient offense did, scoring that touchdown.
Monday on television's most watched new show, CSI Miami. This 2-year-old holds the secret to a crime so mysterious, so unthinkable. You'll have to see it to believe it. Don't miss an all-new CSI Miami. Monday on CBS, which is America's most watched network. To the sideline in Beasley Reese.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I got the report from the Bears, and number 24, Reggie Austin, is out of the game with a right knee sprain. Once again, he will not return. Back to you.
Well, take us inside that Patriots sideline now, Randy. They're within striking distance. What are they thinking? How are they going to approach the remaining 18 minutes of this game?
Well, the key is those 18 minutes. You got 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Bill Belichick knows he's got a defense that can stuff people, that can make big plays. Charlie Weiss's offensive coordinator knows he's got a quarterback in Tom Brady. Goodness, we all know the kind of plays this guy can do. So there's no panic. There's a sense of urgency. There's an embarrassment for being down like this.
Vinatieri's boot. Ahmad Merritt, who was born and raised in Chicago, takes it for the Bears. Shoulders his way to the 32, an 18-yard return. Larry Izzo was there. Matt Chatham, along with Gerard Cherry. All three making the stops on the special teams for the New England Patriots. And again, Chris Chandler started the game, knocked out in the first half. Jim Miller has come in and without a speed bump.
Now, you know, and because they've kind of thought out of the box. The last thing you want to do right now is crawl back into the box and nail the lid shut. You want to stay out of the box and keep doing the unusual things. Keep the defense guessing.
32-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Chicago Bears, and Big Cat Williams. And when he starts going this direction,
71 offense.
It's hard for him to go that direction. That's a big body.
And he's done that quite a few times this year. And a lot of that, I really think, is how long they've got to stay in their stances on the offensive line. When you come out in formations and you have motion and you have shifting and everything else, if the defense is confusing you, it's one thing. But if you're confusing yourself, I think that's very fixable.
Well, you should know. He played all those great years in San Francisco. 1st and 15, push it back to the 27. Pritchett in the backfield by himself. Des White on the move. And a pass by Miller is intercepted by Otis Smith, who takes it down the side and inside the 25-yard line. That's his second interception of the season, a 23-yard return, and Chicago's first turnover today.
What did we just say about Bill Belichick, knowing he's got a defense that can make the big plays and an offense that can take advantage? You've got a sore arm, soft arm quarterback underthrowing a lob pass to his wide receiver, and no one takes advantage of mistakes better than Otis Smith. He's not the best corner in the league. He's not even the best corner on his team. But I'm not sure if there isn't a guy in this league that isn't at the right place at the right time more often in the last 2 or 3 years than Otis Smith.
13 years he's played in the National Football League, and
13 years for a corner?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's like dog years. That's like 90 years for the average person.
That's how you got to think of it, I guess. Bears came into today having lost 6 consecutive games, and another Chicago player is down. I believe that's Des White, the wide receiver. It is. So they've lost a defensive back, Reggie Austin. They've lost their starting quarterback. Now they got their starting receiver down.
Hey, you know, they haven't lost the crowd, but this crowd is very, very quiet. They're sort of sitting back saying, oh, wait a minute. There was 21 points a minute ago. It might be getting ready to be 7.
Tonight on CBS, Oscar winner William Hurt stars as an FBI agent, Robert Hansen, in a true story of the worst traitor in American history. Find out why he did it and the evidence that gave him away. CBS television event, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story. That's tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. He's up and walking. He'll have time to clear his head. Best beginning field position today by the Patriots. Chicago 25.
Remember the rhythm. Remember the bouncing last time they had the ball. Key, get a turnover, get a break, take advantage, and finish it off.
First down and 10 for Tom Brady. Great time, and down the sideline, incomplete. He had a tight end Fourier at about the 12. He had another tight end Cleveland at about the 5.
That was closer to Beasley Reese on the sideline than it was to Christian Fourier. And, you know, sometimes you got to hit Beasley if you're Tom Brady, because the best pass is not anywhere near somebody that can catch it on the field.
Now Brady facing second down and 10. They come after him with Caldwell. They dump it out to Mark Edwards, who gets a Rugemer block, but that doesn't stop Jerry Azuma from giving up just a 2-yard gain to the 23.
I love how aggressive this defense is. Greg Blosh is bringing the blitz, but he's zoning behind it. They blitz off the corner. Brady kind of spins around, thinks he's got something going with the screen, but with the zone behind it, there's 3 Bears there just waiting on the running back.
Pretty important 3rd and 8 play coming up, and you see the Patriots a meager 1 of 8.
We're not even in the 4th quarter yet, Kevin. So a field goal here is not bad if you don't get a first down.
3rd down and 8, 23-yard line. Brady outside and incomplete. Troy Brown tripped. Caldwell was on him. 4th down, and they will have to try for 3.
Yeah, sometimes in situations like that, your brain's faster than your feet. Because your feet can't keep up with what your body's trying to do. Troy Brown wants to catch that ball and run 20 yards down the field before the ball ever got there.
Vinatieri has had a great afternoon, highlighted by a 57-yard, career-long, Patriot-long field goal. He's kicking into the wind, which remains very stiff.
That usually means you've got to drive it a little bit more, and that usually means it's got to be a little lower. You have to be stout in the middle.
A 42-yard try. Paxton with the snap. And he splits him from 42 yards away in New England. Cashes in on the Otis Smith interception to climb closer to the Bears and make it an 11-point, 27-16 Chicago lead. Tonight on 60 Minutes, it's the most contaminated site in America. Where is it? Anniston, Alabama. Who did it? Monsanto. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. Then it's an all-new Becker. Then the CBS television event, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story. Tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. Well, you know, the Patriots, Randy, are either awesome or they're awful. I mean, there's little in between.
But, you know, I have to give the Bears, I think, more credit than not in this situation. In this particular game, they've had some problems in other games. And granted, a 2-6 team, if you're New England on a roll, you should come in here and kind of spank these guys. But the Bears defense that Bill Belichick has seen tonight is as good as one that he maybe has seen in the last few weeks with a so-called
since day one. No one is consistent. Green Bay maybe, I guess, at 8-1, but aside from that, no one has been consistent.
It's that focus and attention to detail. It's been the key today for the Chicago Bear defense there resting on the sideline. Brian Urlacher and this defense, Mike Brown, Roosevelt Colvin, Keith Traylor, everyone's been in the perfect spot, and at the right times they frustrated Tom Brady. The question is now, for the next quarter or so, can they keep doing it?
So after Vinatieri's 42-yard field goal, here's kickoff into the wind. And pretty good depth. Ahmad Merritt. And brought down by fellow wide receiver David Givens. Merritt takes it for 17 yards up near the 31-yard line. As you take a look at the AFC East.
I really like the job that Greg Williams has done in Buffalo. Obviously, that game last week was very, very disappointing. But this is an offensive-based football team they have now in Buffalo with the Bills with Drew Bledsoe. It's a defense that has to play just good enough, and they ran into an offense just clicking on all cylinders last week because the Patriots just ripped them with Tom Brady's performance.
Jim Miller starts at his own 31, first down and 10 yards to go, and Anthony Thomas follows a Croops block and wiggles his way for about 3 at the 34-yard line. And at the bottom of the pile, Ted Johnson, who makes another start this week.
There's no telling with this Patriots defense, and that's true right now. You know, heading into the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, you know, what kind of combination are you going to see? Is Willie McGinnis going to be a linebacker or a defensive end? Is Romeo Crennel going to have 4 linebackers or 1 linebacker and 6 defensive backs?
2nd and 7, shy of the 35. Play action by Miller. Pass outside, which is dropped by Pritchett. Can you feel a bit of a momentum change here?
Well, one of the things, if you're going to pass like this team leads the NFL in drop to dump-off passes. They drop them to the right, and they drop them to the left, and the biggest problem with that for Dick Duran and his football team is that 21-point lead is now an 11-point lead. And there's only 1 minute and 4 seconds left in the third quarter, but you've only taken about 3 seconds off the clock, it seems like.
Miller has missed his last 5.
But now you have to pass.
Yep. We got to get to the 41. They're shy of the 35. It's 3rd down and 7. Here they come after him, led by McGinnis, and the pass thrown incomplete. Looking for the tight end, Davis. 3 and out for the Chicago Bears.
3-man rush. They showed 4 or 5 people near the line of scrimmage. They came with 3 people. Flushed Miller out of the pocket in a zone in the back defensive backfield. He had nowhere to go. And now there's only 59 seconds in the third quarter. You didn't take much time off the clock, and you didn't exactly instill confidence in your offense.
And they've got the ever dangerous Troy Brown back inside the 25. Maynard's punt. The wind holding it aloft. 23-yard line for Brown, getting by the first wave. Gets a block from Harris. Grabbed by the guy who centered the ball, Patrick Manley. He races downfield, 16-yard return, and a 43-yard punt. In the West, Kansas City playing now in San Francisco. Oakland has lost 4 consecutive games, and the Chargers lose today in St. Louis.
Hey, you've got some confidence issues, I think, in San Diego. Just last year, you had this same football team start 6-1. And now they've lost a couple in a row again. And Pittsburgh got that tie today. It's I still think 9 wins will win that division.
I agree.
It may win it going away.
First down and 10 after the Chicago punt, 39-yard line for Tom Brady. The pitch out to Antoine Smith. Slipping a couple tackles, then brought down by Moore. A gain of 7 on the play. Alfonso Boone was there. By the way, the run-pass ratio today, 33 passes, 14 runs for the New England offense. Last week in the win over Buffalo, they ran it 35 times. They passed it 27. 2nd down and 3. Brady with time, guns it incomplete. In fact, it ricochets off the outstretched palm of Christian Fourier. 13 seconds in the quarter. In the AFC South, Tennessee goes to 5-4. They've now won 2 straight. They beat the Colts last week, and the Colts won 2, so they got 2 atop there. But Tennessee wins the tiebreaker because of their win last week.
I can't believe Indianapolis won that game again in Philadelphia, and Tennessee is the ugliest 5-4 team in the NFL.
They'll take it, though. 3rd and 3 outside the 45. And Antoine Smith. Oh, and a fumble on the play as they go diving for the loose ball. It's at the 49 of Chicago.
Patriots have it, I think. But he was not down when that ball got ripped out.
There's Brady, and they just threw a flag on Brady for shoving a Chicago player off the heat. Yeah, the indications are that New England retains possession. The flag is on the incident after the fumble.
No time on the clock in this quarter.
Ball was recovered by the offense. We have a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 12 offense. 15-yard penalty. It will be 1st and 10 by rule.
That's not some of the leadership you're talking about from Tom Brady.
It might not be the leadership, and it might not be the smartest play in the world, but maybe some of that lack of fire and lack of emotion that Beasley talked about earlier out of the New England Patriots on the sideline. Why would your quarterback have to be the guy to go in there and defend your running back? I think that ball was out before he got to the ground, so it was a fumble. But if you're one of the offensive players of the New England Patriots, your quarterback just showed you a little something. You better take advantage of it.
Chicago Bears trying to stop a 6-game losing streak at the end of 3. They're up.
And 1st and 10 at their own 36.
Tom Brady, here's the penalty. You know what? It wasn't smart, but I still like it.
First play, 4th quarter, Brady 1st and 10. Out of the pocket, he scrambles, finds his fullback Edwards, and he bulldozes his way for a 1st down up to the 49, a gain of 13 yards.
And the reason I like it is that lack of kind of fire and emotion earlier in the Patriots. Maybe that's the jumper cables on the lips that might get this group a little more excited about what they're doing.
1st down and 10. Falk in the backfield. Brady slings one outside, incomplete. Looking for Deion Branch. 2nd down and 10. Now the Bears made the interesting decision of taking the win in the 3rd quarter, thus giving New England the win here in the 4th.
Well, and it's going to be a big deal, especially, remember, you're talking about an 11-point game. You're talking about one of the best kickers in the last decade or so in the NFL, in Adam Vinatieri, and a quarterback that can very well throw the ball down the field, and Tom Brady having the advantage of the win. In a field position game, don't ignore the elements.
2nd down and 10. Falk in the backfield for Brady. White with a good block. That provides time for Brady. But now here they come at him, and he throws as he is whacked, and it's incomplete. Coming down on him hard, Brian Robinson. The recently highly signed and highly maligned Brian Robinson.
Well, the problem is he's been highly average.
Yes.
That's why Alex Brown has been starting for him. But I tell you, that case right there, you had a mobile quarterback. No one overcommitted. The defense stayed close, but more importantly, the linebackers and the defensive backs. Tom Brady's got nowhere to go. You know, and he just gets rid of it. His option is either to get rid of it or put a little mustard on it and eat it.
It wouldn't taste good. 3 of 11 on 3rd downs today. 3rd down and 10. On the New England's 49. With the empty backfield, Brady swings it outside, caught by Edwards, who worked on McQuarters outside. A gain of 12 on 3rd and 10 to the 39 of Chicago.
A great job right there by Charlie Weiss with formations. That was Edwards. Mark Edwards, the fullback, lined up as a receiver on the outside, running a quick slant. How many blocking fullbacks run quick slants in the NFL?
Not many. No huddle again. 1st and 10 inside the Chicago 40 for Brady. Dumps it across the middle. Troy Brown trying to squirm his way away from Jerry Azuma. Gain of 6 and down to the 33.
You're feeling a little different rhythm and a little different feel about this offense.
You always compare it to boxing.
The boxing, they're back on their toes. They had the touchdown drive, they were on their toes. Right now, they're back up on them.
2nd down 4, Falk in the backfield, and Brady again outside. Looking for Fourier, the tight end, and the catch is made. And for a 1st down at the Chicago 28, a gain of 5.
And the important thing to remember also, Kevin, is when you're down by a lot like they were by 21, it's one big play, one 1st down, one score at a time. Don't overpress.
Where's the rush? I see no one in Brady's face.
Well, they're not getting the pressure they've decided they'd rather just cover.
1st and 10, short pass again, and incomplete. No yellow on the field.
Jerry Azuma. That ball, Brady put so much smoke on it, I don't think Azuma knew how close to the ball he was by the time it went by him.
Well, this ball control offense, the short passes, we saw a lot of it last week against the Buffalo Bills, and it's been successful here lately for New England in this game.
You know, that's why you see receivers taking these big hits. Defenses are playing a soft cover 2. You have to throw short, and then the safeties get a chance to come up and just splatter people.
2nd and 10, 28, and Kevin Falk brought down on the play by Ernest Grant, gain of 3 near the 25. 3rd down And about 7 coming up for the Patriots, who have 2 timeouts in Chicago with all 3 of theirs.
The Patriots.
What did you think of Belichick last night when we were talking to him?
He's about as calm and sort of bubbly at the same time as I've seen him. He's a guy, I think, very much in control of his team and in control of his emotions and organization.
Third and 7 from the 25. Brady moving up. He's got to get to the 18. Has the first down, sliding down to about the 14-yard line. The scrambling Brady picks up 11 on 3rd down and 7. And again, New England moves the chains.
Tom Brady is one fired-up cowboy right now. This kid is playing with the emotion and the sparks. He's complaining here. It says, they can't hit me from behind like that. That should have been a penalty.
13th play of the drive from the 13, 1st and 10. Kevin Falk finds a gap and goes into the grasp of Ernest Grant. He takes it inside the 10, near the 8, gain of 5. 2nd down.
Well, the time to play soft in coverage is over for the Chicago Bears. They were a little bit too soft back there on that last play. They dropped off so much. Brady got that first down. Keep attacking this offense. If you let them keep coming at you and you let Tom Brady sit back there, you're going to blow this lead and you're going to lose this game.
Defense looks tired. 2nd and 5. Inside the 8. Great fake into the end zone. Incomplete for Troy Brown. Seductive move by Brady. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 5, and tonight on 60 Minutes, it's the most contaminated site in America. Where is it? Anniston, Alabama. Who did it? Monsanto. That's tonight on 60 Minutes. With Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan from Champaign. The Super Bowl champion New England Patriots trail the Bears 27-16. But Tom Brady is leading the team deep in Chicago territory.
Don't let Troy Brown catch us if you're Chicago. Double team him at least.
5 receivers deployed.
Comes the blitz.
And Brady to the end zone and broken up beautifully in the end zone by Todd McMillan, who has himself been maligned this season. It's 4th and 5, and New England will go for 3.
It's not going to get any better. David Givens working at the top of the screen, wide open, ball floated over the top of McMillan's head. You know, McMillan makes a nice grab in there with his hand, but at some point, if you're a receiver and Givens is a young one, you got to learn to come back and go get the ball, not wait for it to get to you.
Vinatieri with a 25-yard try. He's had a perfect day kicking. The wind is at his back, and he easily chips it up. And New England continues to chip away at that Chicago lead. 27-19 the Bears. Adam Vinatieri has kicked 4 field goals today, including a 57-yarder. New England continues to chip away at that Chicago lead, and after his 25-yard boot moments ago, the ensuing kickoff is taken inside the 5. Ahmad Merritt. There's some blocking ahead by Boone and by Leon Johnson. He takes it near midfield, and Chicago needed that in the worst way. A 44-yard return. The kickoff coverage for the New England Patriots has been poor at times this season.
And that's just part 1 of a 2-part prescription for the Chicago Bears that are getting just laid out time of possession-wise by the New England Patriots. Part B, finish this field position off with points.
The Chicago Bears just got a 44-yard return on a kickoff after New England has scored 13 unanswered points. It's Anthony Thomas for 4, grabbed by McGinnis, and he wiggles to the 47.
And Kevin, I talked about the prescription. There's another part of the prescription. The Chicago Bears, their offensive line, take control of the situation. Get your offensive coordinator, John Shute, calling the plays in here. Let the line take control of your game. You've tried cute, you've tried changing, and that hasn't worked. Just get physical. Try to be a Chicago Bears offensive football team that most people remember.
Chris Chandler started, sprained his neck in the first half. Jim Miller has come on, playing with severe tendonitis in his right elbow. 2nd down and 6. Anthony Thomas again. And drilled by Ted Johnson after a gain of 2 to the 46-yard line. Third down now and about 3.
And Dick Duran knows what he's facing on the other side when it comes to Bill Belichick and his defense. They're not worried about Jim Miller scrambling. They're worried about stopping the run, and they're worried about getting back defensively and trying to create another big play.
Has New England showed you as many looks as you thought you'd see today defensively?
Absolutely. They've had 2 down linemen. They've had 1 down lineman. They've had no down linemen.
Bears 3rd and 4. They missed their last 7 third downs from the 46. Miller crossing penalties, got Booker slashing his way to the 32-yard line. He picks up 14 on 3rd and 4.
We talked about the rhythm of New England's offense. Well, right now, Jim Miller and the Bears are up on the balls of their feet, and they've got a little rhythm going, too. They've got the jab working on New England. Finish off this drive with points. A field goal in this situation is plenty. Don't make a dumb mistake that costs you points.
Patriots have turned it over twice. Chicago has turned it over once on a Miller interception. First down and 10 with Chicago at the 32. Anthony Thomas. Roman Pfeiffer slowed him down after a gain of 7. In the second half, Chicago got on the board after a fumble, this 11-yard touchdown pass to Pritchett. Then Chicago with the 44-yard touchdown pass by receiver Marty Booker to Marcus Robinson, 20-6. And then that 2-yard touchdown run by Thomas, that touchdown pass to Kevin Falk, and then subsequent field goals of 42 yards by Vinatieri, and then moments ago a 25-yarder, which brings us to a 27-19 game, approaching 8 to play here in the 4th, 2nd down and 3, outside the 25. Thomas again, Pritchett the lead block. Touch the corner, has the first down. And still on his feet, brought down by Victor Green. He's to the 17-yard line with the pounding gain of 8.
And this is how you take control of a football game. You've lost control earlier. You start pulling your linemen, you start smashing the ball at Bill Belichick's defense, and you let time come off this clock. And you got great field position set up by your return team. Take advantage of this and put points on the scoreboard.
As you've talked about all game long, teams' attention to detail, so important, focusing on those small things that make the big things happen.
And the A-train, Anthony Thomas, 87 yards. He's got to add to it, though.
1st and 10 from the 18.
Blitz.
Thomas. Valerio stood up his guy, but the rest come caving in, led by Ted Johnson and Victor Green. Gain of a yard. 2nd down and 9.
And this is sort of commitment to what you're doing, too. Because Chicago is going to run this ball, and he's going to run the ball inside no matter what you're looking at. And what you're looking at right here is 2 linebackers. One in one A-gap, the other one in the other A-gap. One's Ted Johnson, he's blocked, but you can't allow inside for the other one. Victor Green, the safety, gets you.
Patriots have 2 timeouts. Chicago with 3, approaching 6.5 to play in the 4th. 2nd down and 9 from the 17. Thomas. There's a block by the tight end Davis, and they shove the pile backwards. A gain of 3, and he's inside the 15-yard line. Grab made by Bobby Hamilton.
I like what they're doing offensively. Obviously, you can tell by the tone of my voice, but I also like what they're doing with the ball. They're being very, very smart with the ball. This is not the time to lose control of it, and they're really being very prudent with what they're doing with the football.
And patient, which is something that drives opposing coaches crazy.
Well, John Shoup, the offensive coordinator, now Anthony Thomas has carried the ball 6 times on this drive, and there hasn't been anything cute about it. It's been smash mouth. If they get first down, great, but they've set themselves up to put points on the board.
3rd down and 6 from the 11. Make it the 14. Thomas outside to Bucky Jones, can't bring him down. Finally, he is wrapped up and devoured by Jarvis Green. Flag has been thrown on the far side. You think it's a hold?
Absolutely.
The Bears have only been penalized today 5 times, which is within their range. At least anything over 8 causes problems.
7 less than last week.
Holding
Yes.
number 71, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So 4th down at the 14, and Chicago will try for 3.
I like this. Don't take the field, don't take the penalty, and just let them kick it and get the ball back if you're Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Most important thing right now if you're the New England Patriots is possession of the football and getting a touchdown and some points and then getting it back.
Edinger has kicked 9 consecutive field goals, 2 straight today. 32-yard try into the wind. The hold by the punter, Brad Maynard. And he hits the upright, and it ricochets in. And it's 30-19, an important 3 points for the Chicago Bears.
Well, Bill Belichick saw the Chicago Bears fill the prescription. They got the field position, and they got some very valuable points.
And a lucky bounce. Timeout. With Randy Cross and Beasley Reese, Kevin Harlan, Champaign, Illinois, the Chicago Bears leading New England 30-19. Edinger just kicked the field goal. Boots this off, and Branch will grab it, and then he's grabbed himself on the play by Damon Moore. 24-yard return. Tom Brady's got a lot on his plate. 5:16 to play. The world champion New England Patriots had the emotional win last week over their former teammate Drew Bledsoe in Buffalo. The Chicago Bears have lost a couple fourth-quarter leads, as you see right there. They've lost 6 consecutive games overall. Trying to break that string this afternoon.
The key here, Kevin, keep attacking Tom Brady in this offense. Don't lay back.
From the 37, Kevin Falk in the backfield, 1st and 10. Hit as he throws, incomplete, loose ball, no. Whistles blow. Roosevelt Colvin came streaming in and was all over, draping himself all over Tom Brady. Incomplete pass, 2nd down and 10.
And the amazing thing about Colvin getting there is how late he started. I mean, Roosevelt Colvin really comes off the line of scrimmage very, very slowly. See him kind of hesitate? Then he went.
2nd down, 10. 37-yard line. Falk out of the backfield from Brady. Urlacher, he slips by him. And finally is brought down by McMillan. Tackle just outside the 40-yard line, a gain of about 3.5.
And there's not much sit and look in Chicago's defense right now. They are buzzing around the field, and they are attacking Tom Brady in this offense.
What about Brady wearing these gloves, throwing the ball like McMahon and Phil Simms used to do?
Doug Flutie in Buffalo. Smaller hands, tacky gloves make it easier to grip the ball. But it doesn't make it easier to attack this defense.
3rd and 6. A gain of 3 on the play for Troy Brown. He had to get up to the 47-yard line. Patriots 2 timeouts. Chicago has 3. It's 4th down.
There's no surprise here. This is 4-down territory. You've got to get a first. You've got to get the touchdown.
To the 47 for the first. 4th down and 3. Today they've hit their only other 4th down try. Brady fires the pass, and it's caught by Troy Brown, who is drilled by the other Brown, Mike Brown, no relation. A 13-yard pickup to the Chicago 43.
You want a good example of what happens when a defensive back's waiting for a guy? That's what happens. You're playing cover 2, the safety's waiting and just gets the light Brown up.
Troy will take a breather on the side inside the 43, 1st and 10. Brady niftily moves up, and outside it goes, and it's caught by the rookie out of Notre Dame, David Gibbons, on a gain of 5. McMillan with the tackle to the 37-yard line.
And nice job, too. Chicago's defenders are keeping Weiss's offensive players in bounds. They'd like to be able to catch the ball, run out of bounds. They can't do it. The defense is keeping them in bounds and letting the clock run.
2nd down and 5 inside the 37. Brady again with the dart, and that's dropped. Incomplete at the 33-yard line. Dropped on the play by Branch.
What exactly do you think is soft about a zone defense with Brian Urlacher coming in like this? From the right side of your screen, Givens tries to catch it and gets a body full of Brian Urlacher. If they're not blitzing, doesn't mean they're not being aggressive, because once the receiver catches the ball, these Bear defenders are lighting the Patriots up.
3rd down 5 inside the 37. And they're coming at it. Here comes Urlacher. Here goes the pass. A one-handed catch by Kevin Falk. And a block downfield by Patton. And a Patriot touchdown. A 36-yard strike.
Well, we mentioned earlier about the job that Brady did, bringing Urlacher in on the screen pass and letting him get close. The Chicago Bears defense attacks, and watch Tom Brady hold the ball as his running back Falk circles out of the backfield, heads upfield, and one-hands it. That is the poise of a winner like Tom Brady and what he brings to your football team, and they're going for 2.
Second touchdown pass today by Brady, both times to Kevin Falk. Now trying for 2. Shotgun snap by Compton, and it goes right to Falk. And a block by Light, and look at the tackle by Brian Urlacher. And it stays 30-25, Chicago at 2:46 to play.
Brian Urlacher from the middle linebacker position, doing what he does best, running to the ball and closing on it.
The New England Patriots have had scores in their last 4 possessions, 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals. They trail by 5, and what we assume will be an onside kick by Adam Vinatieri. He assumed wrong. Merritt inside the 5. With the block by the tight end, John Davis. He chisels his way to the 27, a 23-yard return.
Now you want to see a defensive tackling drill that is highlighted in training camp and rarely done afterwards? Watch the New England Patriots on this possession. You're going to see every player who gets anywhere near the ball ripping at the ball, because Bill Belichick wants his defense to cause a turnover. And Anthony Thomas or anyone else that runs with the ball for Chicago, if you have one hand on the ball, they should pull you out of the game. Get the ball, put 2 hands on it, and don't turn it over.
And that will be Chicago's philosophy here.
New England has 2 timeouts. They're going to be able to stop it. That and the 2-minute warning.
27-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Chicago Bears. Thomas weaves his way past the 35, brought down by Lawyer Malloy and Ted Johnson. He gains 9.
Well, if you want somebody that knows how to run with the ball in these situations, get yourself a Michigan halfback. Spend all that time in the Big Ten running with 2 hands on the ball.
Thomas today, 100 yards on the ground, right on the money. That is his 6th career 100-yard game. But he has not had the kind of season a lot of people thought he'd have, coming off last year's sensational rookie year.
Well, you don't run the ball when you're down as far as they've been down. As poorly as they've played, you don't exactly spend a lot of time pounding the football. But when they've had to tonight, they've been able to run against this New England defense. And this is a part of the game. You know, I talk about the offensive line a lot, but you can't say enough about an offensive line in this part of the game. For all the planning on the sideline you just saw with Charlie Weiss and Tom Brady, how do you ruin all that planning? You get the big offensive line for the Chicago Bears just to take control and run out the clock.
78 of the 100 yards from Anthony Thomas today in the second half. 2nd down 1, Thomas again. Gursky got him high, Anthony Pleasant got him low, and they stop him right there. Not a lot of room. Now New England takes their final timeout, and they've burned them all. Let's go to New York and Jim Nantz for this NFL update.
All right, thank you, Kevin. We have an update now from Jacksonville. It's final. The Jags with a big performance today. Fred Taylor takes it in right here, and Steve Spurrier loses in his return to the state of Florida. Jacksonville 26-7. Let's go back to Kevin and Randy.
All right, Jim, I guess Steve Spurrier and half his team getting to sleep in their beds at home didn't make any difference in Jacksonville, huh?
He's got a lot of Gators on that team.
Well, you saw the way New England's defense came over the pile right there as before they used their last time out there. defensive linebackers screaming over the pile trying to get Anthony Thomas. Romeo Cornell, the defensive coordinator, telling his defense, be strong, go get them. Not a bad time right here if you got the guts to call it for a play action pass. Fake the ball to Anthony Thomas and throw something high percentage and quick to one of your receivers.
3rd and 1 in Chicago is 2 of 2 on 3rd and 1 today. Thomas in the backfield. And he's got the call and he did not get it. Richard Seymour plugged the gap along with Anthony Pleasant and Ted Johnson. And New England's defense comes up with a huge defensive stand.
We haven't called Richard Seymour's name a whole lot this game. Second-year player out of the University of Georgia, though, came up big for Bill Belichick when he needed to, because what he does well is move people into the backfield. That's just what he did there.
Now Chicago has got a punt. Chicago led 27-6. New England has come back. We're going to try to block this or get the return?
Into the wind. Set up your return.
That's Troy Brown. He's returned 3 for touchdowns in his career. And the guy who snapped the ball, Patrick Manley, brings him down at the 44. A 10-yard return, a 32-yard punt into a pretty stiff breeze.
If you're Tom Brady, you have the perfect field position to do some business, but something that goes against you, Brian Urlacher, being Brian Urlacher, pursuing to the ball, running to the ball, closing on the receiver every chance he sees that ball in the air. Not quite a complete linebacker yet, but this kid is a complete football player.
Ruger remains the starting right guard. Out of the huddle into the series. Kevin Falk is in the backfield. No timeouts for New England. Brady 32 of 48, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. 1st and 10. Great time. Fires the pass downfield, and it was caught. It was grabbed. David Patton makes the grab at the Chicago 37-yard line. 18-yard gain.
No reason to panic. Troy Brown makes a wonderful catch. David Patton makes a wonderful catch. I should say, don't panic, move quickly.
1st and 10 for Brady, chased by Colburn, dumps it off to Ken Cleveland, his tight end, who drops it. 2nd down and 10. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, then Becker, and then a CBS television event, Master Spy, the Robert Hansen story. That's all tonight on CBS, America's most watched network.
Minute and 21 seconds. You have 3 downs.
2nd down and 10 inside the 38 of Chicago. Brady, again, wonderful time. And feeds it off to running back Kevin Falk, who is wrapped up by Brian Robinson after a gain of 7. He's to the 30, and the clock continues to roll.
The key here now is poise. This is a test for a young quarterback like Brady. You're cutting your teeth on a legend. Can you finish it off?
3rd down and 3. Blocked and intercepted. And then dropped and fumbled after the pick. It may have been Brian Robinson, who has not made an interception in his career. He then fumbled the ball and recovered the ball.
The ball was intercepted by the Chicago player who fumbled the ball and recovered his own fumble. 1st down, Chicago.
Brian Robinson, beleaguered all season long. He's had problems off the field after a huge contract year. As a Chicago Bear, he has not made a bigger play at a bigger moment, stopping Tom Brady and the Patriots.
His 1st career interception, the 3rd turnover by the New England Patriots. A couple of interceptions thrown by Brady. And Dick Duran will count the last 47 seconds and hopefully for him stop this 6-game losing streak.
And for all the enthusiasm and the wonderful things done by this Patriots offense in the 2nd half, it's only fitting it should be a big defensive play by the Chicago Bears that seals this game, because this Chicago defense in the 1st half and for most of this game has been the difference.
Now I think they're going to take a look inside, of course, 2 minutes. It is a booth review, a press box review. They have buzzed McElwee on the field. He will look under the hood and see if indeed it was an interception.
Well, it's about possession. It's about whether or not Robinson has possession. I mean, Brady's trying to throw it softly and doesn't even consider, as it bounces off the defensive lineman's head, where it could go. The ball's coming out there right after the chop. Now, does he have possession? Does he have it? Does he have it? Does he have it?
I would say no.
No. I'd agree 100%. I thought the first time we looked at it, he had it before he went to the ground, but it was moving the entire time.
We are reviewing whether the interceptor had the football long enough to qualify for an interception.
Bob McElwee, the senior referee in the National Football League, 27 years in this business, and he will use his trained eye to figure this out.
Well, it got a left hand, and it got a helmet, and it got a shoulder, and it got the right hand, and it got his chest, and then it got the right hand again, and I think then it got to the ground. I think even before Tom Brady chopped his arm in there trying to go after it, Robinson was dropping this ball. See, I thought he had it there, but he never really gets possession before that ball comes back out. And in the NFL, you can't fumble something you never had.
It's been an interesting time for Dick Geron. The team 13-3 last year into the playoffs, shocking the NFL world with their success. And this year, beginning 2-0 and then one injury after another. And now they're 2-6 and holding on for their lives. Not only in this game, but for the season.
Kevin, you're in a situation like this. Any wonder why head coaches have trouble sleeping at times and have ulcers and have gray hair? And your game is coming down to this one play. You thought you had made such a huge play, but now looking at it again on tape, it would appear this is an incompletion. He does not have control of that ball at any time of that. And not having control makes the recovery by Colvin a moot point.
It was ruled an interception on the field, so it has to be conclusively not an interception, with the view of McElwee on the sideline. A guy who
and this is the angle right here that Bob McElwee will look at. He doesn't have it as it's shifting. He's trying to put it away. He just never puts it away. If you're a Chicago Bear fan, I mean, the term "your heart's in your throat" is a cliche, but that pulse has got to be somewhere behind your Adam's apple if you're sitting in the stands right now as a Bears fan waiting to see what happens here, because you don't want to let Tom Brady and this offense back on the field. The Raiders found out about getting an extra couple plays last year at the divisional game with Tom Brady and the Patriots.
After reviewing the play, the ball is moving all the time. The interceptor is trying to secure the ball. The ruling is an incomplete forward pass.
which is the right call.
Absolutely. Not popular here in Champaign, but it is the correct call. And, well, if you're an optimist, you say Robinson has a chance to go out and make another big play. If you're a pessimist, you think, oh, gosh, we didn't give Bill Belichick and Tom Brady another shot at us, did we?
Now, remember, it will go back to the down it was because it was an incomplete pass. Now it'll be 4th and 3. Well, here goes last season, the Patriot Raider playoff game. Tom Brady hit by Charles Woods and the ball knocked to the ground, but after the play reviewed, the ref changed the call, ruling it an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. Patriots kept possession. Eventually, Adam Vinatieri hit the game-winning 45-yard field goal to send the game into overtime, where the Patriots would go on to win 16-13.
Well, it was the right call then, and it was the right call now. But the important thing to remember is down in distance now that we're back onto the field with the New England Patriots.
And the spot is interesting, too. It's almost like 4th and 2.5. We'll call it 4th and a short 3. Brady's numbers first half to the second half.
In the past, the money pass for the Patriots has been a short slant pattern to a receiver. Just a quick throw and let him run for the first down.
That's the timeout story you see at the top of your screen. probably right now they got to make sure they've got the exact spot of the ball, and that will be the reason for the delay.
Reset to 54 seconds.
And the clock has been reset as well. So they've nudged the ball, and it's back to 54 seconds.
And you know how the NFL works. If it's more than 2 yards, it's 3 yards. It doesn't matter if it's 2 yards and a foot. It's fourth and third.
They got to get inside the 28. Brady at the quarterback sneak, and he plows his way ahead in what appears to be a first down plunge.
He got it.
The spot is all important. The clock is rolling.
Plenty of time.
And now they stop it. McAlee will stop the play. And I wonder if they'll add time.
Well, the important thing now is to get it back to the same spot it just was in if you're going to take the time to measure.
The chains did not move on the sideline. The chains stayed where they were, and they did not advance after the first down. So they're still back where they were, and they have not advanced on the sideline. And they still haven't advanced.
Yeah, on the Bears sideline, it still says 2nd and 1.
And it wasn't. It was
3.
Seattle winning today in Arizona. Jacksonville over Washington, as you see scores. The top right-hand portion of your screen. Here, 30-25 Chicago. Bears led at one time 27-6. And I am assuming they'll stick with 40 seconds on the clock. On the 27, first and 10. Brady fires, incomplete, and out of the reach of David Patton. The coverage by R.W. McQuarters, second down and 10, 32 seconds remaining, and the Patriots have no timeouts.
Well, we mentioned earlier about that we hadn't talked much about R.W. McQuarters and Jerry Azuma, the two corners. Here's the time of the game. If you want to be a big money corner, you make the big money plays. Otherwise, you're going to get a chance to be a goat.
Falk in the backfield. Second down and 10. Brady gets away from Colvin. Now here comes Colvin. He throws the ball. It's a completed pass. And it's caught by Falk, who's brought down by Urlacher at the 21. It's a gain of 7. The clock continues to move. It's third down and 3 outside the 20 and a quick spike. Now
there's a Chicago Bear in the New England Patriots backfield. Timeout by Chicago.
And they now have 2 left. Colvin never moved. He just stood there like a statue. So the spike won't count. A Chicago timeout. And it is still 3rd and 3 had the spike counted, and we're faced with 4th and 3 for New England, but it is 3rd and 3.
You've got 20 seconds left, and you not only have just given New England another possession, you just gave New England another play if you're Dick Duran and the Chicago Bears, because right now after that spike, it should be 4th down. Instead of being 4th down, it's 3rd down.
Patriots took over at their own 44 with 1:50 left in the 4th quarter. Bob McAlee continues to explain things to Chicago head coach Dick Duran. I don't know how Brady got that pass away. He was firmly in the grasp of Colvin.
He guessed.
Yes, well.
Much like Tim Couch did a couple weeks ago against the New York Jets, where he just sort of threw it up over his head and ended up being a 2-point conversion. Brady knew he had to get rid of it, and he just guessed where his running back was going to be. Because the job is being done by the pass rush. Colvin's getting to where he needed to be, and he just flips that out to Falk. That is just real nice poise and execution by Tom Brady under the most dire of circumstances. And
I'm assuming his knee wasn't down when he was throwing that ball.
But you keep getting life. You keep getting life. If you're the Patriots and can't take advantage of this, you have no one to blame but yourself. And if you're the Bears and you're able to stop New England, what does this do to your confidence and your ego and how you look at your football team if you're a Chicago Bear?
There were 28 seconds on the clock when timeout was called.
So not only an extra play, they get 8 extra seconds.
which is a lot.
Well, for Tom Brady and this offense, it's all they need.
Chicago led 27-6 with 6.5 to play in the third quarter. Third down and 3, 8th play of the drive from the Chicago 20. Brady gets away from Colvin and to the end zone. Caught by Patton.
Where the feet in.
A touchdown.
I have got to see that again to see if those feet were in. Tom Brady, kudos for having the coolness. I played with a guy named Montana in these situations, was very similar and just as cool. But was the receiver in? Were the feet's in? Feet in.
David Patton, 1-2.
Dotted the I, touchdown. Remember, it's not only the feet, it's possession. Does he have the ball, and then are the feet in? Ball, catch, 2.
He towed it. His left foot.
One more time. Do you have the ball? Yes. 1, drag, 6. That's a touchdown.
But they will review it upstairs. They've already issued the
catch, drag, second, 6 points.
It is under review right now, and of course, as we said, anything under 2 minutes becomes the booth official signaling down to Bob McElwee, which he has done. And Bob McElwee now is looking at the replay on the sideline.
Bill
We are
Belichick.
reviewing whether the pass was completed for a touchdown.
Bill Belichick's football team got the ball back on a review. Looked like an interception. It was not an interception. The ball was dropped. They've got chance after chance. Chicago dodged bullet after bullet. And finally, they just couldn't dodge anymore because this is a catch. The ball is in. The right foot's down. The left foot dots the I. That is a wonderful replay, a wonderful angle. And this should be a very easy decision for Bob McElwee and our officiating crew, but especially McElwee, our referee, under the hood. It is positive a win this could have been for Chicago. This has the potential to be an utterly devastating loss.
Now remember, there are 21 seconds remaining for the Bears after the extra point will be kicked if indeed we go that way. 2 timeouts remaining for Chicago, but they've got a weak-armed quarterback with severe tendonitis and a lot of other factors going up against what is a terrific defense, and add to that a stiff breeze
into the wind
that they'll be knifing their way into.
Well, for those football fans of you out there, you're watching this, and this is a touchdown by David Patton because that left foot's going to dot it in. And so this is a lead for New England. But remember yesterday, remember in college football in the SEC yesterday, that game between LSU and Kentucky. Kentucky thought they had the ball game won. They'd already dumped the ice water on Guy Morris, the head coach of the Wildcats. And LSU comes back with a miracle pass. So they not only never say never, you don't ever say it's over until you see all zeros in the scoreboard.
Well, after reviewing the play, the right foot is down in the end zone. The receiver has the ball. He taps his left foot. It is a touchdown.
That is a perfect job by Bob McElwee. A wonderful explanation to the crowd. They may not like it, but it's a perfect explanation.
Go for 2.
With 21 seconds to go and a pretty good defense, I think you kick the PAT personally, but
look right now, they're
going to go for 2.
They are going to go for 2. New England has scored on their last 5 possessions against the Chicago Bears. And here they go. Antoine Smith back in there. Mark Edwards, the fullback. And Brady sends Brown in motion. The fake to Smith. And Brady for 2, and he's got it. And it's 33-30, and so New England has bought a bit of insurance. 33-30, the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
What to watch it? Bob McElwee explained. Watch the right foot. Now the left foot. Right there. See the divot? See that job done right there by that foot? That is the spot. That is the drag. And boy, is it a drag for the Chicago Bears. The crowd doesn't like it. Look at that. See the dust coming up? See the dirt?
You know what that is, Randy? That is the small pieces of rubber on this synthetic surface. Which is kicking up.
Okay.
But it looks like dirt.
Tire dust. I'm sorry, the tire dust coming up in the air.
Yeah, that is an artificial surface.
See, there's our little tire dust we were talking about earlier. Tire dust. There's no such thing as tire dust.
Laid rubber. That's what he did. He made his skid mark and it counted. All right, we're going to kick off now. Does Vinatieri put downfield? He's got the wind at his back. And
well, look at the wedge. See where the wedge is standing downfield for Dick Duran? You kick this ball so it rolls into the wedge. You know, you let one of the big wide guys get a chance at it, but you don't let one of the little fast guys get a chance at it. There's 21 seconds left.
Leon Johnson, Ahmad Merritt are deep back, and Vinatieri with that big breeze at his back, driving Merritt 5 yards deep, and he'll leave it in the end zone. So to the 20 with 21 seconds to play. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Chicago Bears.
Or you just kick the heck out of it.
The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Tony Petitti. The coordinating director, Larry Cavallina. Today's game produced by Bob Dekas. Directed by Steve Milton. The senior producer of NFL Today, Eric Mann. And the director, Bob Matina. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate directors of today's game are Fred Johnson and Jeffrey St. Armand. The broadcast associate, Jonathan Siegel. The tech manager, Rick Godwin, our spotter and statistician, Pat McGrath. From the 21st and 10. Miller firing a pass, broken up, incomplete as they were gunning for Marty Booker. It is 2nd down and 10.
If you're the Chicago Bears, there's your best chance to get the ball down the field. You're throwing into the wind. Jim Miller's got a sore arm. Marty Booker's already got the longest completion on the day.
Touchdown pass of 33 yards.
And he's also got the strongest arm on the field. You've got to get a chance to get down the field to set Edinger up for a chance to get a field goal. 17 seconds.
Miller again. Pocket crumbles and brought down. The pressure came from all sides, and that was authored by Mike Vrabel, his 3rd sack of the season. And Chicago will take a timeout. And Miller working on that badly injured and ailing arm.
Well, it's just tendonitis, and you say just tendonitis when you can't really hold the ball or you can't pick up a glass of water. It's not just tendonitis, but you know, this defense of Bill Belichick knows there's one thing you do right here. You get as many guys back as possible and you knock this ball onto the ground.
Tonight on CBS 60 Minutes, except on the West Coast, and then the CBS Sunday movie Master Spy. That's coming up tonight here on CBS, America's most watched network. So Belichick puts center fielders back outside the 50-yard line.
You put them in the bleachers. The heck with center field. It's like in San Francisco, all those boats in the bay for Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Yep. I don't know if you even rush anybody. Knock it down.
3rd down, 13, going outside. The lateral from Robinson to Booker, who is upended by Otis Smith. That takes us to 0, and that's the game. The Chicago Bears watch the New England Patriot offense score on their last 5 possessions. Dick Duran and his Bears have lost 7 consecutive games. And Bill Belichick and New England go to 5-4 with their 2nd consecutive road win.
How many chances can you give a world champion before they're going to take advantage of it and make you pay? And Chicago found out exactly how many. One too many. Tom Brady made the Chicago Bears regret they ever gave him those extra chances.
Becker will be back next week, but tonight 60 Minutes and the CBS Sunday movie Master Spy. A dramatic come-from-behind win. Chicago is on top 27-6. New England, the Super Bowl champions, win it 33-30. For Beasley Reese and Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan saying so long. This is the NFL on CBS.